host, the Ranting Monkey, and if my calculations are correct, this is Monday, I think. Are we on Monday, guys? I should know this. I should be able to actually look it up, but I'm too lazy to do so. And I know what you're thinking. Too lazy? Aren't you on a computer? There's a calendar right down there. But yeah, I'm too lazy to do that. Man, I'm in a bad way, you guys. I'm in a bad way. I hurt a little bit. Been playing with the little ones way too much. I don't regret it, but I do regret going to sleep without taking my medicine. I actually woke up like, oh hell no. So I've been awake for the last couple of hours and like, you know what? I don't want to concentrate on anything. I don't want to dig into any horrible news. I mean, I saw Kevin Hart was in a horrible car accident. I don't know if you guys saw this. The pictures, oh my God. They actually had to use the jaws of life to get two people out of the car. Oh, who wants to think about that shit? Oh, yes, Ramen, it's Labor Day. I've never really understood Labor Day. Labor Day is like the dumbest day to me. Sorry, guys who enjoy it. I know there's some people that are unionized out there like, hey, Labor Day's our day. Good for you. You celebrate working by taking the day off, which, I mean, that's an American thing to do. Like, how are we going to celebrate? We're going to take the day off and get drunk and eat a whole bunch. Sounds good. It's what we do. It's what we do. What else? I mean, I know there's stuff in the news. I do. We got that hurricane beating the shit out of the Bahamas, which, by the way, it's slowed down from 185 mile an hour winds to 175 mile an hour. Whew. It's moving at about 2 miles an hour. Now, remember, it's not the speed of this thing as far as the winds. That is how slowly it is moving across the fucking map. 2 miles an hour. Oh, sorry. Its maximum sustained winds are now 170 miles an hour. So it's come down another 5. So, it's only going to take down most structures it comes in contact with. They still don't know exactly where the hell this thing is going to go. Because that's our scientists. Look, I have a lot of respect for scientists. I have a lot of respect for what they do, but when it comes to predicting weather, dear God, are we bad at it? Dear God, are we bad at it? This thing was already supposed to have hit Florida. Do you remember that from just a couple of days ago? This thing was supposed to have already hit Florida. Hi, Poppy. Real quick, Poppy. I'm sorry. I got your message, but it was after I woke up and I was already too late to join you. I'm sorry, sweetheart. Yeah, I went to bed at like 7:00 last night, you guys. I was in bed, tucked in, and just waiting for Little Butt and my wife to join me. Thankfully, Little Butt, when I got out of bed, guys, she was like pressed hard against Lady Monkey. I was like, ooh, that looks uncomfortable. Glad I had this whole the whole side of my bed to myself. But yeah, sorry, I woke up after you had already got off the air. What other things are going on? There's still the death count out there in Odessa, Texas is up to 7. They released the guy's name. I saw a picture of the dude. Holy crap. That he doesn't look Mexican, which was everybody's theory for why they took so long to show him. He's got deep ties down there in Texas, which means fuck all to me. He's just some fucking loser. And of course, we had to have the gun fight again. Why do we has the guns? Why we got to get rid of those guns? And a really stupid conversation popped up over that, which maybe we'll talk about later. I did an impromptu stream yesterday when Little Butt and Lady Monkey went swimming, and I couldn't go because reasons. You can look him up if you want to go watch that stream. By the way, if you haven't seen that stream, at least go watch the very end, because I told everybody, look, we're going to end that stream when they get home. And when they got home, she came into the room and she actually closed out the stream. So it was really cute. Hurricane Michael hit. It was a category 5, but it was moving at about 20 miles an hour. That's fairly fast. Yeah, that's the thing with hurricanes, how fast they're moving. Their wind speed is a big indication, but how fast they're moving across the land with that wind speed, that's whoo. I think we should do an AR-15 for siege weapons. Wait, what? For siege weapons thing, bring in your AR-15, get a sword. Oh, I get it. What you're talking about is a trade-in. Instead of a buyback, we do a trade-in where we give them a flail, a sword, or a morning star. Yeah, a nice battle axe. That'd be great. I was lost there for a second on what you were talking about, and I just had to finish the sentence. My brain was like, "What am I reading here?" But I was looking at all this stuff. I'm like, what the fuck am I going to talk about? Because I don't want to talk about any of this shit. I really don't. At least not at the beginning. Because God, what a depressing world. And then I remembered I hadn't finished watching Joe Rogan's podcast with Penn Teller on it. And for those of you who watch regularly, I'm a fan of both of these men. I find both of them to be fascinating to listen to. And they got to a part on the show where they're talking about conspiracy theories, and specifically how Joe used to be a big conspiracy theory believer, and Penn is just not. Penn is the ultimate skeptic. He believes what he's told from science, which, by the way, is not always the best way to be. Because look, sometimes conspiracy theories, sorry, YouTube, you might not want to hear this, but they turn out to be true. They turn out to be right. Not very often, and certainly not in the outrageous ways we hear. Because it's always the absolute worst possible thing, shadowy Men in Black kind of figures things. And instead, it's usually it's just look, our government is a bunch of shitbags kind of thing. But I like conspiracy theories. I really do. Ramen says I don't buy conspiracy theories either. I don't buy most of them. I think that there's enough questioning available to us that a lot of them have some truth to them. And one of the ones they brought up was Kennedy. Kennedy is one they brought up, and Penn makes hey, I made that shot. I made that shot. And what he's talking about is the fatal shot with Kennedy dying there. And that's fine, because they're part of the conspiracy theory is that is a horrible gun and nobody could make that shot. Which by the way doesn't conclude the whole theory there. The theory is that nobody could make that shot that well after firing 3 times, or at the very least, your best shot would have been the first shot, not the third. Because for those of you who don't know, there were 3 shots fired as established by the Zapruder film. One shot we know completely missed. It went under the underpass, and I don't remember if it nicked somebody or if it caused a little bit of shrapnel to nick somebody, but there's one of the bullets, so that one didn't happen. That leaves one bullet, which took care of the fatal headshot, which we all saw, where his head just peels, which leaves us one bullet with, like, I forget the exact total. I'm sure somebody in chat knows it. But the other bullet, one bullet accounts for like 15 different entry and exit wounds kind of thing. I don't think it's 15. It's like, what, 9, 10, something like that. And the weird part about that is just how, not just that it went through that many people that many times, but that it did things like completely change direction in midair, which, I mean, can happen. I mean, things that with the right wind speed and everything. Thank you, Arlen Specter, for the magic bullet theory. What is a lot more believable is that there was another shooter, that there was more than one shooter. That makes more sense, because if you know physics, that's just most probable. And then people go, no, just it was one guy, just one dude. Really? Is it? So yeah, you can make that shot, and they've done ballistic testing that shows that rifle could fire that bullet through that much flesh and still end up, because it passes through Kennedy and passes through McConnell, is that his name? O'Connell, I forget his name. The Texas governor, mayor, whoever it was. It passes through his hand and end up lodging in his thigh, or not his hand, his wrist. And so they've done ballistics to show it could go through all of that meat and stop at a position that it could have actually passed through all of that stuff. Okay, that's fine. That doesn't show me that same thing. Show me that same thing with that bullet turning in midair. Repeat it, not on a computer. No. Repeat that same shot on a moving vehicle with that. Look at the car's layout. Most magic bullet theorists don't take into account that the sets aren't perfectly lined up. Well, they have this idea. There is this one notion out there that the car was just perfectly lined up so that it went through Kennedy's back, out his chest, into McConnell's wrist, after, by the way, turning in midair, into his wrist. But it didn't actually turn in midair. The car was just the right way. Into his wrist, twists around in his wrist, and comes out and fires into his thigh. Because it's his right wrist and his left thigh that got hit. Could it have happened? Sure. There's a line from JFK where he says, a theoretical physicist says it's true. And he goes, yeah, well, a theoretical physicist will tell you a elephant can hang off of a cliff with its tail tied to a daisy. But you have to use some smarts here. But the biggest problem was that final shot being the best shot. You've just taken 2 shots at the president and missed completely. You're just some rando, man. You're not like the best sniper in the world. You are some rando who's just taken 2 shots at the president, and somehow your third shot was just perfect, man, on a moving target that is already aware of you. Yeah, man. It's that's some lucky shooting right there, man. They, instead of killing Oswald in that basement, they should have promoted his ass and sent him after Castro or something. Because that is one under pressure, calm motherfucker right there, man. No, does that mean the government was involved? No, doesn't mean the government was involved. Other than maybe trying to, quell panic that there might be somebody else out there. This is not the best sniper in the world. This is just a tribute. I'm not sure what that is. Watch the movie JFK for a great dramatization. Look, the movie JFK, there's a lot of flaws in it. What's his name? Stone, Oliver Stone, the man who made that movie. I love the movie JFK. But that is okay, we got to stop and talk about this because we're going to talk about conspiracy theories today. And YouTube, you can suck my nuts because I'm doing it. When you go looking at conspiracy theories, you have to be careful. You have to be careful because the people who tell you these things, the people who lay out these stories, they, it was a Tenacious D joke. Yeah, I'm not a real big Tenacious D fan. I know. Remember, I'm a Gen Xer, not a millennial. So to me, they're not, the greatest thing ever. I've listened to a couple of their songs, okay. But I know this is another one of the things like the movie. The one Dave Chappelle was in, where I know the millennials think it's the greatest thing ever, and I'm just like, huh. Anyhow, back to what I was saying. If you go in diving into conspiracy theories, you have to be smart about it because they will tell you things in almost like numerology. Yes, half-baked, Shio. It's almost like numerology. They lay it out like, oh my God, there's no way to counter what is said here. It's perfect there. They found the secret formula. And it's just nonsense. It's just nonsense a lot of the times. So you have to go. One, you need to make sure you're educated on the topic before you dive in. And 2, you need to know when to back away. You need to know when it's like, all right, I'm starting to believe this shit. I got to back off. I got to back off a little bit. At the very least, back off and let your rational mind come back to you for a while. because they do. They will present it to you in a way that makes it seem perfectly rational. And again, sometimes they have very compelling arguments. Sometimes they do. The idea that the single shooter theory and the JFK assassination makes no logical sense to me. It's not that I believe in conspiracy theories. Actually, I think most conspiracy theories are a bunch of nonsense. It's that the idea that the magic bullet bounced around the way it did, and then Oswald pulled off that final shot after already fucking up two of them. His first shot should have been the best shot, period. It should have been the best shot. And instead, the third one was, which is like, interesting. BG says, like jet fuel can't melt steel. Exactly. The BG, that is the one for 9/11, and I don't know how much we'll get into 9/11, but 9/11, that is one of the conspiracy theories that is what helped push that one so much. Is people, you're right. Jet fuel. Suddenly, everybody became an expert in the burn temperature of jet fuel, and then they're like, oh my god, it can't melt a steel beam. Yeah. Green Badger Outdoor says, you're not a shooter, are you, Monkey? I have shot. I'm not. What's the word I'm looking for? By your terms, probably not. But why? I'm curious why you're asking that. You're showing you do not know enough about shooting, Monkey. Oh, here we go. The people are going to tell me. All right. Tell you what. I'm not even talking about shooting here. You have one shot you're going to kill the president with, and you miss. You're killing the president. But you guys are going to tell me, no, Monkey, look, your third shot, when you're nervous as fuck about killing the leader of the free world, man. No, that third shot, man, you'd have been spot on. You'd been like, hell yeah. You know, because you've done it with deer, or what, you've done it on a paper target. No, man, that third shot, that was always my best. Yeah. How many times have you guys, okay, let me get that, because you guys are going to tell me I'm not an expert on shooting. How many of you are experts on shooting at a president in a moving car from a window? I need to know that. Anyway, but yeah, back to 9/11. Yeah, you don't have to melt the steel beams, sweetie. You just have to weaken them. You just got to weaken them. Red hot steel doesn't bend under heavy weight, Ranting Monkey. Oh, God, here we go. Oh, and I get that. He gave me a sarcasm. Okay, thank you. Anyhow, yeah. So, I mean, that's part of the thing here. And this is why conspiracy theories work so often. It's because all you need is that little hint of doubt. You need that little hint of doubt. And they talked about the moon landing quite often. The moon landing is probably the easiest one to believe, because we know without a shadow of a doubt that some of the moon landing pictures were fake. They were faked. That doesn't mean the moon landing was fake. It doesn't mean all of the pictures were fake. But we do know beyond a shadow of a doubt that some of them were fake. I am an expert at shooting enemy combatants. Okay. How many presidents have you killed? How many assassinations of the United States president have you carried out? We know some of this is what fuels the conspiracy theories. All you need is that little bit to catch on to. And they made it so easy with the moon landing. And again, I think we landed on the moon. I'm not lying about that. I'm not even going to pretend that I do, or that I don't believe this. I do believe we landed on the moon. I think what they did was propaganda pictures, because we're landing on the moon, man. Taking pictures and stuff up there, it's not the same as, just snapping a Polaroid down here on Earth. You have to wear a special suit just so you don't explode. I think they made a huge mistake in the way they promoted it. And that's what's led to the conspiracy theories there. There's a lot of people. Well, why didn't we go back? After what was it? How many? How many? Because I know. Let's see. 13 or 11 was the one that landed on the moon. 13 was the one that got the big famous thing. How many? How many moon landings do we actually have? 6 or 7, and then they just stopped. Sometime in the early 70s, they just stopped after we touched down in was it July 21st? July 21st of 69? I know it's around there. Just around there. Hammer says exploding is a myth. Exploding might be the wrong word. But the decompression that would happen to a human body would still happen. Not to mention freezing to death. Yeah. You're talking about being in space with no atmosphere. So either freezing or burning to death, depending on which side of the moon you're on. We did land on the light side, so probably, yeah, you'll puff up. And I'm sorry, Hammer, I used the wrong. I use the Hollywood words because yes, in Hollywood, a little tiny hole in your spacesuit, and you'll actually explode. That's not. Damn it, we're talking conspiracy theories. I'm gonna have to be very careful what I talk about. Yeah, your body will puff up. It's a weird look and hard to describe. It almost kind of looks like if you've ever, and this is a horrible thing to say, but if you've ever seen somebody that's been pulled out of a river that's been in there a long time, a body that's waterlogged, it just kind of looks like that, only fatter. But yes, you're absolutely correct. Not anyhow. So there's a lot of things that make what we did up there not only amazing, but there was a lot of guessing going on. A lot of guessing. We'd never put anything on the moon and brought it back. Nothing live. I mean, we'd sent like monkeys and shit into space, but we never put them on the moon. I don't think you guys realize how far away the moon is. I'm not sure if you do, at least. It's a long fucking way away. And most of the time we send, like shuttles up and like the International Space Station and all that crap. That stuff's not that far from Earth. It's still within our I don't know if the right word is within our atmosphere or just outside of it. It's definitely not as far away as the fucking moon is. Anyhow, but NASA fucked up. The United States government fucked up because we know without a doubt they staged photos. And you can find them, but then you have other things like, look, the flag is not waving, like, or it waved a little bit, like, or was it just kind of moving and still wiggling because there was nothing to stop it from doing that from when they planted it. But yeah, 2,500 miles, give or take, Earth to Moon, 238,900 miles, the exact. You can tell we got some Americans here because they did that in miles, not kilometers. Anyhow, yeah, they fucked up, and you can't give conspiracy theorists even a little inch because they will run with it. 9/11 is probably the biggest one from my lifetime. God, I remember when I first started hearing about that. Oh, and yes, it was all the steel beams. The steel beams, they can't melt. And of course, they found okay, and I will give you this one. This is weird. They found a passport perfectly preserved, even though it should have gone through an exploding airplane. That's okay. I'll give you that one. Maybe that's a little bit the government trying to help their case out rather than just going, yeah, we got it all from the passenger manifest, that kind of thing. Building 7's another one. There was also a news report that came out before one of the towers fell that said the tower fell. It might have even been Building 7, that one. Building 7 had caught on fire and yeah, just destroyed a whole bunch of it. And yeah, there was a lot around it that made people go, oh my God, it's a false flag. The government killed all these people to start a war. Okay. Well, why'd they have to do all of it? Why'd they have to hit the Pentagon? That's another one. There's no plane. There was no debris of the plane. You mean the one that slammed through concrete and steel? but the hole's not big enough for the plane. Oh man, I went over. So I used to argue this stuff with these guys a lot. And there was also, what was it? The thermite. Thermite would make this kind of burning metal at the bottom of the towers. Only thermite would burn that long. No other fires ever burned more than 15 minutes. Hammer says I was working in DC. Oh, by the way, Hammer, if you want on, I hope you're feeling better these days, man. And if you do, again, you can let me know and I'll bring you on. Yeah, I remember seeing debris. Look, I have no doubt that they have the right people who were involved in 9/11, the people who took over the planes. I think the part about we found the unburned passport just laying on the ground, like, come on, man, really? You didn't need that lie, and that's the kind of shit that gives conspiracy theorists their fuel, for lack of a better word. Terry, thank you so much. I don't like putting jet fuel in water. That turns the friggin' steel beams gay. I don't like putting steel. I don't like putting. I can't do I read your thing wrong. I don't like them putting steel. Or God damn it, I just did it again. I don't like them putting jet fuel in the water that turns the friggin' steel beams gay. I could kind of do that in an Alex Jones voice if I know what the fuck I was reading. Did I mention I didn't get much sleep, by the way? It was a very broken sleep. I kept trying to get back to sleep and finally crawled my ass out when it's like, oh fuck, I forgot to take medicine all day yesterday too. Assassin of the Gray says you'd be surprised what survives an explosion. No, I wouldn't be. I would be surprised with all of the debris that was there. You're talking, how tall were these buildings? Were they more, 110 stories? I can't even remember. But all of the debris that flew out of these things as their windows popped and papers were jettisoned everywhere, that they happened to find a passport. I mean, again, is it possible? Sure. Is it likely? I'm having trouble with that. For those of you asking where Jack is, man, I wish Jack was here. I know this is a subject he loves. Anyhow, it's those little things that our government does to us, the little things that they give us in these stories that it's just like suddenly, no, you lied about something. And once you lie about anything, everything you say is brought into question. Everything you say can be brought into question. And that's the problem. That was the problem with the moon landing. If they'd just been on the up and up with all of that, I don't think you'd have very many people at all being like, yeah, it was fake. Because most people just look at me, no, you're a dumbass. But when you can take two photos and go, look, this photo was turned into this one, then you're like, oh my God, they lied. What else did they lie about? Did we actually make it all the way up there with just an Acme rocket? Another great one, if you go back to one of my favorites, I love Egyptian specifically pyramid theories, because none of the explanations they give us make sense for those. None of them. We could kind of do this. Like, could you really? I saw this great. Hey, Polly, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm sore and talking about conspiracy theories. So I'm yin and yang. How about that?
Okay.
I have the good and the bad. And for me, conspiracy theories are great, Polly. And I find them fun. And I do want to talk about this real quick, because Polly, I was telling these guys.
Oh, you're talking about fun conspiracy. I thought you meant like Epstein and
oh,
like,
well, even that, yeah.
You're talking about like lizard people and flat Earth, because those are a fucking blast. Yeah, I love them.
Well, I think all of them are, actually. I think all of them are at some level, because all of them are basically based on the same notion that we were lied to. And we're lied to enough that our brains are going, yeah, we're being lied to, motherfuckers. But I was watching Penn Jillette over on Joe Rogan. And one of the things Penn mentioned about this is that his daughter, who's 14, she's really into conspiracy theories. She doesn't believe them. She just likes reading them, and she finds them fascinating.
Mhm.
And Penn, being who he is, the ultimate rational guy, the ultimate skeptic, the science is science. There's you're never lied to kind of thing. He has trouble dealing with his daughter. He not necessarily dealing with his daughter, but understanding why she would even care, why she would like this stuff.
Uh-huh.
And he said she actually brought him to an appreciation. He sees it kind of as a modern form of poetry. He said, as a brain exercise to, just help us make sense of the world in a way that not necessarily even makes sense. It's just an exercise. And that's how I view him. I just look at him as an exercise, and logic and theory, and that's the problem with a lot of people. Polly, I mentioned this earlier, and this is I think the crux of it. It's numerology. Almost all of these are numerology. If you look at numerology, man, they will make you believe fucking anything. If you believe what they say and you just follow their logic, you're like, oh my God, the number 22 is the core of the universe. It connects everything. But if you apply actual logic, you're like, that makes no fucking sense that the number 22 would be significant in any fucking way. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's what I like about conspiracy theories. And I was just getting into the Egyptian ones, because there's the theory that Egyptians could not have done what they did building wise. The pyramids, the obelisks especially. Holy fuck. Have you seen those things? They're like perfectly carved. And even with some of our best equipment today, we couldn't replicate it. So what do? They go to, it was aliens. It had to be aliens, man. There's no fucking way. Even, I don't care how many slaves you had, you're not lifting that block way the fuck up there. And they have some theories about how they did it, and they still can't replicate it, though. And that's the part that keeps these theories alive. That's the part that keeps aliens believable. It's because they come up with there was an article I read maybe a year and a half ago, where they finally showed humans could move the stones the size that are in the Great Pyramid of Giza. What they did is they took a giant stone, right? And they cut a hole through it and put logs underneath it. And I believe it was rope that they used. They were able to pull it with that rope for a couple of feet. It's like, okay, well, where are the holes in the Great Pyramid? You showed that maybe you can move one of those rocks a couple of feet. You didn't show that humans by themselves, with what we know they had at the time, did something that they actually did. And so it always leaves that open. And this is one of my problems with Egyptologists and the people that poo-poo all this stuff. We should be looking for it, because to me, I think they had technology, earthbound technology, that made this shit possible. And instead they go, man, they just use slaves. That's not an answer. That's not a fucking answer. They did so. And you know what? And the reason that's important to me, Polly, is that we can't replicate it. What if we had that technology? What could we do with it? Looking at just what they fucking did. It pisses me off. You should be out there looking for that. You should be out there going, how in the fuck did they do this? Because if we could crack that code, we could build anything. And it wasn't just slaves. They might have made the slaves do whatever it is they figured out, but it isn't just slaves, man. Anyhow, how you doing tonight, Polly?
Oh, Did
you come in here just to hear me ramble about conspiracy theories?
Well, I mean, okay. I don't know where to start, because you said a whole lot of shit there.
Well, sure, go ahead.
3-4 minutes. No, I that wasn't a one-off statement. I literally do not know where to start. I don't know. It's Egypt. I used to be really into Egypt on a conspiracy theory level, and then took a more
intelligent,
academic kind of like approach to it.
Intelligent.
Yeah. Like archaeological, I guess would be better. So I took a number of courses in archaeology and Egyptology at university and stuff. And I don't know. There's some great mysteries as to how things were accomplished, and there's some things that are made out to be mysteries that really aren't. I sense a lot of people who plumb the great depths of meaning into how certain Egyptians did something. A lot of them tend to be thinking about today.
Well, sure.
You get a lot of sense of that. The idea that the Egyptians had mass slaves, there's really no archaeological evidence to represent that. That doesn't really make a difference. It's seen that way. I don't know. It's the people that claim like an ebony history of Ebonic scholars that for a while they call a number of scholars call themselves ebony scholars, Ebonic scholars of Egypt, the black history of Egypt. Now to say, and that is kind of turned around where it's like, that's an insulting phrase. Why don't you just drop N bombs? It's so insulting. And it's like, wait a minute, but this was like a self-assigned name for a number of anyway. I don't know. It's all over the place. I don't even, like I said, I'm rambling because I don't even know where to start. Like it's,
well, see, that's
I used to be really into the mystery of it, and I found it really deep. And it's like, I think a lot of people that read it are, interested in the history of it. I think a lot of the people who push the majority of it publicly are not really interested so much in the history of it as selling books. I mean, archaeology is actually pretty dry and boring stuff.
It is, sure.
Real archaeology, like layered dates and stuff. It's certainly not. And it a lot of it breaks down to probability. What are the greatest chances that something happened? And it's yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I really have anything to add to this conversation. I do remember Joe Rogan, because you were talking about him and we were talking about like how to make obelisks and how are the stones sanded as smooth as they were. And this is the one time Carl Benjamin, Sargon of Akkad, was on. And Sargon kind of took that role of like, there's really nothing impressive about it. Like, it's very hard. The work is very impressive, but it's one guy sitting there with polishing sand for years. That's how you do it. There's no great mystery to it in terms of, except for unbelievable amounts of elbow grease that we can scant think of today. The human labor has been cheap for millennia, and Joe Rogan was smoking weed at the time, and he's like, no man, you don't understand. He was going full late night dorm room with it, like well, they just went back and forth on it for like 5-6 minutes, and it was like, I didn't really take either person's side. It was just interesting to hear such two extremes of it, that there's, yes, it's impressive, but our modern understanding can make sense of everything because science will tell science when science is wrong. Basically they sound like Seth MacFarlane, or the full-blown pothead perspective that I don't know if it was aliens, but it might have been aliens. Yeah, but it was aliens, or it might have been interdimensional creatures, or possibly fourth dimensional aliens.
Well, there is definitely a thing that comes up with these conspiracy theories, depending on which one you're looking at, of putting too much thought into it. It reminds me of the story of a truck getting stuck under an underpass. And all of the greatest minds come out like, how are we going to deal with them? Maybe if we lift the bridge, and a little girl comes up, why don't you just deflate the tires?
Right.
Sometimes you just need to deflate the tires on these things.
Yeah.
Do you have a conspiracy theory that you enjoy these days? Do you like any of them?
Oh, so many. Oh, like I meant it legitimately when I said I enjoy the fuck out of them. Absolutely. And they take on so many different kinds. I think it's just a broad umbrella to describe something as a conspiracy theory.
That's a fair point too.
Like, I mean, you mentioned numerology, which I think can fit into that general description. And I enjoy the shit out of some numerology.
I love numerology.
Is it really a conspiracy theory? Fuck it. It's fine to call it that. Like, that's my take on it. I get what you mean. It's some wonky shit. Like, that, and it's some, what if my friend called it woo-woo shit?
That's a good, yeah, woo-woo shit.
Yeah, he's like, enough with the woo-woo shit. I don't want to hear anymore.
Well, it's funny that because you mentioned Epstein when you first came in. Epstein and the Egyptian thing, there's both conspiracy theories there.
Right.
Oh, and Hammer says I'm up for the link. Okay, Hammer, thank you for the donation. I'll shoot that to you in just a sec.
Like the 1-ton hammer?
Yeah.
Nice.
Hammer's going to come hang out. We haven't talked to him in a long time.
I got to talk to him just the other day when I did a test stream. So that's sweet. He's coming on. That's cool.
Oh shit! I didn't see the DM. He sent me a DM 20 minutes ago or 10 minutes ago, telling me he could come on. Sorry about that, bud. Yeah, I don't have my Twitter on for this one because I'm just rambling tonight. I'm just having some fun. The flat Earth, man.
Flat Earth guys are great. I love to hear the lengths that they go to because it's great fiction. Like, and yeah. I and people are like, they're so wrong. And it's like, why are you getting so angry? These people are harmless. This is hilarious. Like the iceberg, the ice wall at the edges of the earth and so forth. And it's like, but how can you go all the way around the earth? Well, see, what you don't understand is like space is curved in this way that, and they've got there's no problems. All of their theories work, like in a crazy man's mind, but not work nonetheless. And I love how far they're willing to go to explain it, you know?
Hey, Hammer, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Mikey. How are you?
I'm, I'm here. How you healing before we get to anything else? How you healing up?
I'm doing better. I've done all my surgeries, so that's the good part. Now it's just a matter of a little bit of maintenance. I have to get some work done on my eyes and stuff like that, but I'm making progress. It won't be long before I'm back on my feet.
Good. Because even if you can't come on, we like to have you around, bud.
Yeah, it's a little difficult to get on my computer because my vision is really screwed up at the moment, but it's not going to be a problem. It'll be fixed and I'll be good to go. I've already talked to my optometrist and he's like, we just get you back on the schedule of getting shots, and after a while you'll be all good. So there's nothing permanent. I'm in good shape.
Cool beans.
Cool. Yeah. Hey, Polly.
Hello.
So we're talking about the flat Earth, which you're right, Polly. These guys they are harmless, but it's a lot of fun looking at the shit that the length they will go to. Like my favorite is the Great Tree, which I've only recently learned about. The Great Tree in the center of the Earth.
This can't go on.
Oh, have you not heard this?
I've heard of a great tree like in mythology, but never related to flat Earth stuff. No.
There's actually a great tree in the center of the Earth.
Okay,
and depending on which theory you look at, it either goes down under the earth, and that's what helps supports it. I'm not making that up. Not that that there's like a long what's the word for a stem on a tree? The
branch?
No, the main part of a tree.
Trunk.
Thank Jesus. Fuck my brain. Not that there's a trunk that goes down and sits on something else. It just the roots underneath wrap up and it helps keep it all together. The other theory is that you can actually go through it, and when you go through, you go down and you come out in the dark world.
And there live the Na'vi.
And I was like, what the fuck am I reading?
Isn't this old pagan mysticism with the whole Gaia and the tree of life and all that kind of stuff?
Basically, yes. But there's some flat earthers who have claimed it as their own.
It sounds like anything neo-pagan, like patchwork, this and that. Inquisitor loves going off at this stuff, and I love hearing him do it. He's like, it's a dead religion. You've taken a piece of this and a piece of that and slapped it all together and sold your book and some medallions. Like,
true. It's true.
And no one's talking about Sticks, X, and Hammer. Don't be judgy. I love you, Sticks. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Who gets to decide that it's a great tree? Maybe it's just a mildly adequate tree. Well, depending. If it makes it so you can go to the dark world, I'd say it's pretty great. No, the lengths they go to, that's my favorite part of conspiracy theories, because if anything is ever disproven, that's when suddenly they have to get inventive instead of just going, yeah, I was wrong.
Well, okay, my IR professor, he had grad school instructor had a very particular view of what defined a conspiracy theory. Mm-hmm. So like numerology wouldn't count, because it's a theory that explains relationships between either institutions and people, or people and people, or institutions and institutions, whereby the theory itself has a built-in mechanism that can disprove any flaws sent of it. It has a built-in unfalsifiability. So Illuminati stuff, for example, right? Uh-huh. There's a great cabal that's running society. They've incorporated the Freemasons and Disney and all the wealthy elites in the world. And it's like, either you're too ignorant to so it's like, let's say you critique it and you say, well, you're wrong. You're too ignorant to understand. And they've gone out of their way, the Illuminati, to hide their tracks. And it's like, well, wait a minute. If you can't see their tracks, how do you know they're there? That's exactly how you know they're there, because they've hidden their tracks so well, which is, of course, circular logic. But
isn't that the best logic ever?
Oh, yeah, it's great. It's great. And it's like, but you're okay, then what evidence do you have? Well, they list it off. I'm like, yeah, but this is purely circumstantial. But what other kind of case other than circumstantial can you make against a group that hides their tracks so well? But that is also circular logic. And it's like, if you're good enough in terms of being like somebody, well, listen, I'm an elite, like I'm a powerful person, or I work at Disney or whatever, and I know that there's no such thing as the Illuminati. I would expect someone like you to say that. You must be one of them. See, built into it is its own ability to explain away any criticisms of it.
So what would he consider a conspiracy theory?
Well, he brought up the Illuminati. I, not joking, said, do you realize you just described Marxism?
How'd that go over? Fuck.
And he said, how so? And I said, well, think about it. Like, by the definition you said, it's a theory that explains relations between people and institutions, people and people, and institutions and institutions, that has a built-in unfalsifiability to it to explain away any flaws or any criticism. He said, yeah. And I said, Marxism has that in the form of false consciousness. Let's say that you're a worker, but you're not trying to sell your labor because, you know, the proletariat and the individual private control of the means of production and stuff. You don't accept any of this is going on. And since you are part of the proletariat, you know that that's not the case. That's because you possess a false consciousness that's been put upon you. That's literally part of Marxism. If you don't agree with me, then that's the phrase is translated into English, is that you possess a false consciousness. You don't understand how you're part of the class struggle and how you're just a pawn inside of the system.
Yeah. See, I was going more with, you know, if it doesn't work, it's because it was never tried correctly.
Well, that would be modern socialism, right? And communism. No, you're absolutely right. How is this just, we need to explain it. We need to keep it going. You know,
so yes, your system sucks. Wait, hey, my system's never actually been tried. Like, but there's examples all throughout history. What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah. Communism is a conspiracy theory. I actually like that.
Did you ever see the fork meme? Two guys holding a fork up to two very small guys holding a huge fork up to an AC outlet. You plug in your lamp or whatever, and the guy says, "Everybody who's tried this has had bad things happen." And the guy holding the fork says, "Yeah, but they haven't tried it like I have."
No, I haven't seen that, but that's great.
I do. There's a lot of great literature built up in and around Illuminati stuff. It's awesome. It's worth reading. I mean, because there actually was a historical Illuminati in Bavaria, and you know, Adam Whipshut. I never know how to say his name. For Christ's sake, there's a Wikipedia page on it.
Sure,
I'm fairly certain, but I'm sure the Illuminati has cleansed it of any.
Yeah, they got rid of any incriminating evidence. They're bastards that way.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it amazes me that the way, you know, I saw this yesterday, and I forget who it was. Some no Brexit asshole actually said that because of what's his name, Boris Johnson, asking the Queen to suspend Parliament for 2 weeks, it's just like the Bolsheviks. Like, what?
How?
Well, somebody tried to explain it to me, and I guess I know too much about the Russian Revolution to have got it. But apparently the Bolsheviks secretly infiltrated Russia, which is weird because they were pretty open about it, and had the Queen suspend Parliament. I don't fucking know. But what amazed me about it is the way that they used Bolshevik. is as though they were almost an Illuminati kind of thing. And then, do you guys remember what happened with the? Believe me, guys, you in the chat, you're like, "What the fuck is he talking about?" Hang on. I'm getting there. Do you remember what happened after the second debate when Tulsi just ripped the shit out of Kamala Harris?
Oh, that's so great.
Suddenly, Kamala Harris was an agent of the Russians. You guys remember this shit? This was just last month. Every time somebody doesn't like something that happens, there's a new conspiracy that pops up about it.
Well, oh yeah, and I just love how the Russians have become scary again. It's great.
They're the word. They are out there. They are the Russians are the Illuminati. You heard about it. You heard it here first.
Mm-hmm.
They
and
are.
The Kremlin is their high temple.
Henry, that is awesome. Yeah.
So we were talking about numerology, right?
Yeah.
In my opinion, nobody has done numerology with more style than the 5%ers. 5% Nation of Islam, Nation of Gods and Earths, go by many names. Ever heard of these people?
That's not one I'm familiar with.
Okay, there's a guy, you know the Nation of Islam though, Louis Farrakhan's.
Oh, sure, yeah,
right. Back in when it would have been the late 60s, early 70s, there's a certain guy there named Clarence 13X, and he starts preaching.
Time out. Yes, somebody had said, didn't you mean Tulsi was the agent? Yeah, that's what I meant. If I said Harris, I meant Tulsi. Sorry, go ahead.
He branches off from them and starts preaching a separate version of Nation of Islam theology and stuff. It's wild. Like if you know Yaqub, the evil big-headed scientist that created the white race. You ever heard of this?
Oh yes, I have.
Yeah.
Oh man, I haven't heard that in a while.
Yeah, it's been used by a great number of people, but that's Nation of Islam idea. That's Nation of Islam theology. Anyway, he branches off from it, Clarence 13X, and starts preaching, and a new group forms around him and calls it the 5% Nation of Islam because they're the 5%ers who are the poor righteous teachers, the people who know who God is, and God is the black man, and then there's the 10%, the bloodsuckers of the poor. They're like the Illuminati types, the power elites, and then the 85%, the middlers, the people that are lost and confused, and the masses of people. See what I mean? Notice how they place themselves in the position of being the wise 5%, right? In any case, they're still around today, and they do numerology and what they call the supreme alphabet like nobody else. They are hilarious with it. Like each one of the 10 original numerals have different meanings applied to them, and each one of the letters of the alphabet have it. They are fans of backronyms like nobody I know, and they are so creative with their. You know what a backronym is?
Not really.
It's where you take a word that, or like, you know what an acronym is. It's a word that
Sure.
they take a word that isn't an acronym and interpret backwards to it for it to be an acronym. So, for example, Bible for them is basic instructions before leaving Earth. That's working backwards to get an acronym.
Wow.
Yeah. And they interpret it as all being meaningful through their supreme alphabet, right? And since they are God and the God body, and this is a big part of their theology, if you will, this shit gets wild. It's so fun to listen to. It's like, you are so, like, you realize you're a grown adult and you're sounding absolutely raving mad. But no, it's fine, because you get enough people together in a room who all kind of agree with each other. They're not crazy, then they're not,
Well, wouldn't it be better to write a movie about this shit and just admit it's fake?
So the God body, right? They're gods, and since they are sort of Muslim because they came out of the Nation of Islam, but they're trained to say that they're not Muslim because they understand that they're God. God is not as they say, spook up in the sky. We are God. Okay. And you can prove that God is a man because God is Allah, right? ALLAH, which stands for arm, leg, arm, head, like the God body. Get it?
Oh, and I didn't know that.
It just goes on and on. I mean, it's endlessly entertaining stuff.
And that's what I like about conspiracy theories. They so many of them. I like the really fucked up ones, the crazy shit. But I also enjoy, Hillary Clinton's a murderer.
Mm.
Because too many people just die around that lady. She's like fucking Jessica Fletcher. You don't want to be her friend when the episode starts because you're gonna die.
That's a good reference.
Coincidental. Everybody around her dies just by coincidence.
Yeah.
Jessica Fletcher goes and visits some small town to promote her book, and mysteriously everyone left town. I don't know why they'd leave, Jessica. It's not like you've got a history of finding dead people around you all the time.
Right. And so I mean, do I think she actually had a hand in some of this stuff? Maybe. Is it provable? No. Yeah, hashtag not sad. Like maybe it's you, Jessica. Right. You don't want to be Hillary's friend because you're going to die in some mysterious way that's going to at least have people on the internet going hashtag body count. But yeah,
I'm not sad. Paul, you're not sad, are you?
No, I'm
No,
good.
I'm not sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, we're all laughing. We're all having fun here. Hillary Clinton is not a murderer. She just hires murderers. Who was it that bounced off? Who was it that died in the plane crash?
Oh, shit. Sorry. Bump the mic there.
It was the black guy, wasn't it? I forget. But I mean, there's just this random plane crash. You know how rare plane crashes are? They do happen, but it just happens to be somebody that was, of interest, and they died in a random plane crash in the middle of fucking nowhere. Huh. Bounced off a mountain. Apparently the pilot didn't see it. Huh. I mean, it wasn't. Sorry. You knew Hillary. That's your fault.
That's an Iron Man quote. Small aircraft have such a poor safety record.
Oh, yeah. Flat earthers. What's another good one? You mentioned another one with the flat earthers. I forgot what it was.
Flat earthers don't believe in gravity. The reason that we're all being stuck to the ground is because the flat earth is accelerating upwards. Have you heard this whole thing?
Oh, that's pretty good. That does explain it.
It explains it. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, somehow we're accelerating at 65,000 miles per second every, a certain interval of time, but they don't understand. They can't explain why, in the history of the world, why we're not moving faster than the speed of light at this point, because we keep accelerating and going faster and faster. Eventually, you're going to get to the speed of light, but oh no, there's a bubble over top of it, and the bubble keeps us from.
Or a giant snow globe.
Yeah. Oh, they do. They insist that there's a globe around the planet, around the disk.
Oh,
yeah.
I know.
And that the moon is a projection against the inside of the disk.
I know a good one. White men are wearing hyper realistic masks of black men and going around and shooting people in Chicago. That's why the death count is so high. They're hunting humans. And don't believe me, that's not just something I made up right now. Look it up on YouTube, because
white guys in blackface are going around and shooting other people who are black.
Extremely realistic black masks. Yes, that went around on Black Twitter for a good while.
How do they know that they're not shooting other hunters?
That's a good question.
You would think at some point, there'd be some friendly fire there somewhere,
because they're all in contact. It's a conspiracy. You see, they're all like, they know I'm hunting in this neighborhood, don't come over here, kind of thing. So we don't want any friendly fire incidents, I guess.
All right. I mean, hey, that's some excellent maneuvering. I mean, that's like SEAL level shit, man.
Yeah. I haven't heard that one before. That's a new one to me.
Yeah, even our SEALs have messed up, and they have like the most advanced training in the world. But hey, these guys who are going to hunt blacks in Chicago, damn. Maybe we should have them training the Iraqis. Polydub, how the fuck did you hear this? Jacob,
Twitter.
You just have to pay attention to different sources for this kind of weird shit.
Oh, which one? The 5% Nation of Gods and Earths, or
the factual accuracy of whatever you read on Twitter?
Well, everything on Twitter is real.
Yes. I agree.
No, I think this is part of the problem right now. And one of the reasons like YouTube shut it all down, like no conspiracy theories on our platform, is that it is too easy for these crazies to hook up now. And so far, I haven't seen them do anything wrong. I mean, we did have the problem with Pizzagate where the guy went in and shot up the place. And there's a lot of people who are upset because some people contacted the Sandy Hook victims' parents and stuff. But for the most part, it's just crazies getting together and what's the word I'm looking for? Accelerating the crazy.
Yeah.
I think it's fun. There's still not a lot of them. It's not like most people are running around believing that Trump worked with the Russians. Shit, bad example. I love that the Russians have become the bad guys again. And not just the bad guys, man. These are like secretive James Bond level bad guys.
Oh, dude, Russian bots working to destroy the Rotten Tomatoes rating of Captain Marvel.
Yes.
But that was a thing. Like people were saying that. It's like, really?
The greatest thing,
care that much?
The best thing about it is that they're just as inept as Bond villains because we all know their plan. Apparently, it's that easy to figure out. These guys have bought and paid for our president, but they haven't found a way to keep it secret. Because reasons,
yeah.
And it's great because if you actually talk to these people, it's like, okay, explain to me how this worked. Like, well, Donald Trump was going to build a hotel over in Moscow. Like, yeah. He has hotels all around the world, right? Well, no, but it's just in the Russian one, where he, by the way, didn't build a hotel. Just gonna throw that out there. But while he was there, he had some hookers pee on him. And because those hookers peed on him, the Russians now own Donald Trump.
No, they didn't pee on him. They peed on the bed. The bed that the Obamas had stayed in while he watched.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. There was pee involved, y'all.
There was pee involved.
Yeah.
Your nation was part of it.
Shower shit going on. Yeah.
And
hold on. If nobody's actually peed on, is it still... It's just pee play, I guess.
It's just pee play. Yeah. That's a thing, unfortunately, which I found out from the internet.
Gross.
But yeah, I mean, this is fun for me watching. Now, when it comes to like our unfortunately, this is part of our national election that's coming up because there's actually people who believe this nonsense.
Yeah.
So that part, it gets a little scary. But like flat Earth,
Mustafa says, "What?" in all caps. That's the story from the Steele dossier. It wasn't like the pee incident was that Trump hired two hookers to stay in the hotel that the Obamas had stayed in because he hated them so badly that he hired two hookers and got them to pee on the bed while he sat there and watched, and they had this recorded, and they've got him.
Dangerous Spaces is mentioning the Captain Marvel thing. Hang on. Don't forget, it wasn't just Captain Marvel. It was they got into a whole bunch of our media arguments. What was the other one? Star Wars. The Russians went onto social media and propped up hatred of the Last Jedi to plant seeds of discontent in the Americans.
And remember when it became
reported in a major newspaper?
Remember when it became like a meme? I remember people all over Twitter, like still a little bit, still say it that like, oh, the bots are getting really active over this one. Yeah. A lot of Comicsgate discussion and stuff was like that. And the idea being it wasn't so much Russian bots, but it was just bots in general. You can't trust that there's a lot of every one person who has a discontented opinion about a given comic book or a movie or whatever, or a political leader will have paid for 20 bots to reflect their opinions.
The other day, Ilhan Omar, a sitting member of Congress, retweeted, and she put some words up there too. She didn't just, blank retweet it. She retweeted with comment. This guy who he recorded a bot finder. I forget the name of it. That it's like, look at all these bots that every time Ilhan or AOC tweet, they go right into action, and it shows all of these comments that pop up, and the ones in red are the bots. The ones in red are the bots. Well, me being the curious guy I am, I actually looked up some of those people. And you know what? Some of them did pop up with a Twitter account in 2018. All right, maybe. Some of them had that account since 2012. I'm like, okay, so your idea is that this person hated Ilhan Omar so much that they started an account in 2012 to fuck with her now.
That is a long-standing hatred for
It is, man.
Small-time nobody up in Minnesota when Ellis was occupying her current.
The Russians hacked old accounts.
There you go.
It's like, look, are there bots out there? Of course there's bots out there. Is it a bot just because the person says go back to Somalia or something? No, that's just some asshole on the internet. It's amazing that people don't realize that there's assholes on the internet.
They're not assholes. They're part of the alt-right white supremacy.
They're Russian bots, Polly.
No, it's that the white supremacists have hired a bunch of Russian bots and working in concert with them.
They're white supremacist Russian bots. Johnny Blaze says Ilhan cheated on her brother. Well, actually, now that you mention it, yes. By the way, that's a conspiracy theory too, that she was married to her brother. But however,
there is some evidence though.
There's a lot of evidence for that. A lot of evidence.
They actually do call that a right-wing conspiracy theory.
But this is one of the weird things about that conspiracy theory. One of the reasons people asked Trump about it, because remember, Trump brought this up. The fuck he did. You guys asked him. You know it.
Yeah, I saw the video.
Yeah, right. But the paper there in Minneapolis, I forget which one it is, they refused to cover these allegations, which were coming from was it Gateway Pundit? I can't remember the ones who first broke this story. Because this has actually been going on since she ran for election in the state. I forget what she was in there, assemblywoman, whatever she was. They've been looking at this since then, and the Minneapolis paper refused to cover it. They didn't cover it until this year. And then suddenly they were like, there might be something to this. There might be something here. And for some reason, nobody who can do anything about it, not the Justice Department, not Congress, none of them are actually looking into it. None of them. They're all ignoring it because reasons. Because we don't want to look like we're going after the Muslim chick. I hate that shit. Political correctness, stop. Because look, this bitch, I'm gonna say she married her brother.
Yeah.
I don't know about any incest that actually happened there. I think it was purely for, by everything we see, she was still with the other guy, the father of her children. Mm-hmm. But it looks like she married him for immigration purposes. And it's funny to me that no reporter has been able to track this motherfucker down in London where they know he is. They know he's there and they haven't been able to. I don't know if they haven't been able to, but nobody's gone and asked him any questions. Like, that seems convenient for our now here's where I'll get into a conspiracy theory, Polly. The press colludes to set a narrative.
I mean, that it if you remove the breaking the law aspect, I mean, what basically is a conspiracy? It's a covert agreement between a number of people to work towards a given end. Yeah. That's it. And that can imply that they all know each other or that very few of them do.
Well, we also know that at least under Obama, there was the big story that broke and was immediately ignored. That a lot of these reporters who were covering major stories for Washington Post, New York Times, CNN, they were all in a chat room where they were discussing what they were going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
That's come up repeatedly in
Yeah.
Comicsgate stuff, where it's like all the journalists and certain writers and artists and across different comic book companies all meet in certain private Facebook groups, and they talk amongst each other. And Mark Waid was one of them, the guy that Richard Meyer is currently suing, that said like, this, I hear that this guy's going to be at the New York Comic Con. If anybody sees him, I don't care if I'm in the middle of a panel discussion, you come let me know. And I don't care if you have to pull me off stage. I want to blah, 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 blah. And another guy says, cracks knuckles. Like, is that you guys conspiratorizing behind the scenes to what? Attack this guy, to forcibly confront him, to, I mean, it's, that's not really a conspiracy, but then again, it is by the loose definition we've applied, you know.
Well, there are people who would call it that. If you told them, look, the journalists of our world get together to decide what they're going to talk about. That no. Yeah, they just all happen to use the exact same fucking wording. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a video that came out about, it was like some 100 or so different television stations, and they were all reading exactly the same script, word for word.
Oh yeah, you've seen the super cuts of it? They're great.
Yeah,
like with all of them talking over each other, but you can still understand everything they're saying because they're using identical wording. Yeah,
they use the exact same script. And I want to talk to you today about how I feel.
Yeah. I mean, the wording is trashy because it's written to make it sound like it's on a personal level, like you just said. But I mean, is that really a conspiracy, or is that like it was a bunch of Fox affiliates? No, that they're all.
Well, it was what they did there was dirty, because they did make it seem like each one of these was giving their own editorial rather than it being a memo passed down from the top that they were told they had to read.
Right. A threat to our democracy, they all say, as an audience.
Yeah. And if they, I have no problem with what they said and how they, them doing it the way they did, except for the fact that that's how they presented it. If they'd have said, look, this is an editorial that we've been asked to read, and then they all read the exact, I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
This is my problem with the chat rooms and stuff, though. They will go in there and obviously have the same thing. And one of the things we saw with Obama is that the White House was involved in some of those as well, because the White House would come out and mimic things that the press had just said. And you might go, oh, well, maybe they read that in the paper. And it turns out the White House was actually giving those talking points to these fucking reporters in advance. And like, yeah, that's not a conspiracy. That's what actually happened. And Polly, this is part of what makes conspiracy theories work, is that sometimes the shit is true. Sometimes they give black people syphilis.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, you could never, there's something that Penn said that, that I agree with this. Once you start lying, everything you say is suspect. And for our government, man, holy shit. They've lied their ass off for so long that any conspiracy about them is like, yeah, that probably is them. That's probably them. They probably took down the Twin Towers.
But I mean, it's like the Tuskegee experiments or something that really happened, but it's like, it's so easy to apply that to the entire government. It's like, so therefore the CIA introducing crack cocaine into South Central Los Angeles becomes believable.
Yes.
And it's like, but it's, what's that?
Or AIDS. Remember, AIDS get rid of black people.
Yeah, well, introduced by the World Health Organization across the world to depopulate,
No, that was the CIA specifically.
Yeah, whatever.
The CIA,
MK Ultra. Wasn't there something they were using?
I
psychogenic drugs to control soldiers. MK Ultra.
Oh yeah.
And then there was the thing where they were trying to use mental abilities to control goats, men who stare at goats or something like that. There was a movie on it.
Oh yeah,
sure. The CIA, if they heard that
people are nuts.
Well, I mean, okay, here's the thing. Like, does sodium pentothal work? True serum? Yes, to a limited degree it does. Can you introduce limited effectiveness brainwashing to people through the use of LSD? Well, the Russians have had limited success with it. Maybe we can try it. Yes, that's how you get programs like MK Ultra. It seems insane to try it, and then once you find out after the fact that it doesn't work, okay, it doesn't work. Okay, yeah, but you didn't know that until you tried. I mean, it sounds insane, but like the Russians ran experiments in remote viewing. The idea being somebody sitting in a room and they can tell you what's happening in another building. Like they're remote viewing what's going on there. If the Russians are doing it and running experiments on it, it might be possible we have to run our own experiments. So CIA did. I mean,
I'm sorry.
If it worked and they didn't try, they would be viewed as negligent. Come on, you had reports they were trying this and you didn't try it. Like, imagine the Russians hearing a response that the Americans have a weaponry that's based upon atomic science that makes dynamite or whatever the fuck explosive, any kind of high explosive at the time, seem ridiculously small, and it poisons the place where nobody can go there for 50, 75 fucking years. They'd say, oh, whatever with your magic bomb ideas, except that they really did have that. Imagine if they ignored the reports.
Real quick, Jedi Ghost Bear points out that Cheney did the same thing as the Obama administration to build support for the war. Yes, look, all of these fuckers are dirty and do that shit. But I haven't seen that with Trump. I got to be honest.
Trump has been the least warmongering president, I think, so far. I mean, except for his little deal with Syria, where he called up the Russians and said, "Hey, I'm going to send some Tomahawk missiles in, so you probably should get out of that base." And the Russians got out of the base, and then he shot 40-year-old Tomahawk missiles that he was probably going to decommission anyway, and half of them didn't hit, and it didn't kill anybody, and it blew up one building.
Why would he warmonger?
That's the length of his warmongering.
But why would he warmonger? He's too busy trying to enrich him, his family, and their associated businesses and protect the Russians.
That's the whole reason why he called them.
Well, the Russians told him to call.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get them reinvited to the G7.
If you're gonna do anything, give us a call first.
Because the Russians want to be militarily active in a number of places. And so, of course, Trump is not a warmonger because he wants to stand idly by while the Russians do whatever they want. This is the narrative.
Well, yeah, I loved the whole G7 thing. Do you guys remember when we had to talk to Iran? We have to talk to Iran. We have to treat them like people. Obama actually got a lot of shit because he said he was willing to have unilateral discussions with who was in charge then? That smarmy looking fucker with Iran. And everybody's like,
that would have been Mahmoud Ahmadinejad.
Ahmadinejad, thank you. Yes.
No. Say it with me. Mahmoud. Nice. I just love saying that name.
Mahmoud. God, he's a smarmy looking little bitch.
With his little light zipper jacket that he wore everywhere. Remember?
Yeah, but we were supposed to talk to everybody, and now it's like, hey, no. Look. We can't talk to the Russians.
You lend tyrants legitimacy when you talk to them, except when Obama does it, then he's the great peacemaker.
Yes. And that's the thing. And that's why the phrase only Nixon could go to China is so real. Because otherwise, you have this certain portion of the populace who's like, yeah, of course he did. They're colluding because we have the Russians were controlling everybody back in the 80s. Do you guys remember? They were that's why there were liberals. Liberals were all just sucking up to the Russians. Not quite as bad as Trump, apparently.
I wonder what American Russians think about this Russophobia that we seem to have.
I don't know, but maybe we need to get Hillary to give another reset button.
Oh God, I remember watching a clip of that.
The fucking reset button.
That was some really bad diplomatic posturing for the public. Jesus Christ, it was so cringy.
Like, yeah, we're gonna have reset button. She actually gave him a fucking button, and didn't it have like the wrong word on it? I can't remember. I know there was something that she did with the wrong wording on it. God. And yeah, let's make her president. She'll just give everybody a reset button.
If she would have made president, we'd be at war with Russia right now.
Oh yeah, well, we'd be with war with a lot of people. We would have went straight. We would have gone into Syria. Her no-fly zone would have led to war breaking out. And no, I'm not saying Trump is a lot better there because Trump backed down from pulling everybody out when he just should have done that. We have no real strategic or reason to be there, but yeah, at least World War III didn't break out yet.
I like what he did with Iran. He says, okay, you shot down our probe, but we're not going to kill anybody. I think that was a pretty big move there.
I know there were a lot of people like, why, what? No, we got to fuck him up. No. I'm with you on that. I think Trump handled that perfectly. Like, that's your one, motherfucker. That's your one. You didn't kill any of our people. I'm not going to kill any of yours. That's your one.
He threatened them. He put the planes in the air. He was
Yep.
like, okay, here it comes. I'm gonna, well, maybe not.
Let me bring my battle group onto your shore and show you that our Navy is bigger than your whole fucking military. Okay, I love it because they talk about this. Iran has one of the biggest, best militaries out there. Like, yeah, compared to everybody else. Compared to us? Are you out of your fucking mind? We could turn them to glass without even,
Yeah.
Trump's got to push a buy Iran.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was about to say we can glass just about anybody right now.
Yeah. It doesn't mean we need to be deployed everywhere, but yeah, there were so many people mad that he didn't, blow some shit up over that. I'm like, because the plan, do you remember why he backed out of the plan? He asked how many people will die.
Right.
And they said 150.
Yeah. And
he's like, yeah, that's what they did isn't worth killing 150 people over.
Right. But didn't we shoot down one of their drones?
Well, reportedly. There's been some back and forth arguing over that. But yeah, this is one of the times Trump showed, you know what? That's actually good leadership. That's good leadership.
Yeah.
We're not going to kill 150 people because you knocked down one of our drones.
Right. It's not a commensurate or not. No, it's not commensurate. It's not an appropriate response.
Yeah, it's not a proportionate response.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
But I do think, that's your one, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You do it again, and we're gonna level your shit. You're not gonna be able to launch planes. How about that? We will knock out every fucking runway you have, and we can do it.
It does make me laugh at the level of superiority we have in the air against everybody. There's just nobody can touch us.
We really do, yeah. And I don't have a problem with that. I know a lot of people like, we spend way too much on the military. We do, but it also ensures we don't have to use it that often. And certainly not put our guys in danger that often. And I'm okay with that. Trump did the right thing, and this is why if I vote in 2020, I'm voting for Trump. I get that, Blaze. I probably won't vote for Trump because he's controlled by the Russians. And I don't like the Russians. You're only going to vote for him because the Russians made you. Yeah. I actually saw somebody, I forget what it was, on Twitter earlier. Somebody just did something dirty and it led to a whole bunch of people in the chat in the responses like, look, you just made me vote for Trump. This is the kind of shit that's making me want to vote for Trump right now. And it was God, I wish I could remember what the fuck it was. I should have tagged it.
I'm probably going to vote for Trump. I didn't vote for Trump in 2016. I didn't vote for anybody because I didn't think Trump was going to be very conservative, and she's a crook. So I didn't vote for either one of them.
Sure.
But his way he's conducted himself, not his speech, but what he's done and how he's governed has been conservative. And that agrees with my views, even though I consider myself a centrist. I think unless he does something really stupid between now and 2020, I'd probably vote for Trump.
Fair enough. And I know a lot of people like that. I know a lot of people. We talked about this on the show either Friday or Saturday. Or actually maybe it was on the off show I did yesterday, where Scribe's like, you're making a lot of people you blow up all this stuff about Trump, and then it turns out, okay, it wasn't what you said it was. And so now they're like, okay, maybe he's not that bad.
Did you see my comment on that, by the way?
No, I didn't.
I wrote a comment on that. That stream was really fun and engaging and stuff because you guys didn't have a format. It was, and I wrote in the comment section that this is like the original Scribe and Monkey show back before you guys had a format, and it really, I liked it a lot. You guys should do like every once in a while do that because it was I was really listening to every word. I was like really on the edge of my seat what you guys were saying.
And that's why I like this show. It really is. Again, Monkey and or Lords of the Night would have died a long time ago if we didn't have a format. Because it just happens, guys. If you run out of shit to say, there's nothing in the news. You've just talked about movies, or one of my favorite streams we ever did, the nostalgia stream. And you just run out of things to say. So it's like, okay, we're not going to talk tonight. But so we developed this little format that we have, and that's what keeps it going. However, it does get so constricting. And I found this to be my outlet because sometimes I just need to say more, God damn it. I couldn't have let's see, how long we talked probably for about an hour and 10 minutes just on weird conspiracy stuffs and our thoughts about them. We couldn't do that on Lords of the Night. It just couldn't happen.
But the good thing about Lords of the Night is you bring guests on, and that at least spices things up. So that's a good thing.
And it's fun when we get to do that. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling through my Twitter trying to find the thing that I was talking about earlier because it really made my brain just go, what in the fuck is wrong with you people? And I should have marked it at that time. I know better. I know better. Yeah, I've lost it. I'm back 9 hours now, and I know it wasn't that far. But yeah, this person, they're like, yeah, what you just said there, that's the kind of shit that's gonna make me vote for Trump. And they don't get that. They don't get lying about this man is what is going to. You're actually making him look better because every time you lie about him, he comes out looking good.
Fake news.
Yeah,
you're proving his fake news narrative. Not that it isn't true to some extent, but you're proving it for him.
And Trump has been smart in that regard because he knows they're going to lie about him. So why not just bring it up?
He just waits for them to lie so that he can say fake news. I mean, they're playing right into his hands. I know people go on and on about how Trump is not smart enough to play 4D chess, but some of the things he does, you got to wonder, how did he know ahead? You know, that whole thing with Puerto Rico is corrupt. And everyone
that one was
yeah, that was amazing. And everyone's like, no, it isn't. You're racist, blah, 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 blah. And then 3 months later, everyone knows that Puerto Rico was corrupt. He was right.
Yeah, the president, whatever they have of there, is a governor, I think it is, had to step down because of corruption in his government.
Yeah. So is Trump really that stupid?
I don't think he's stupid. And here's the thing, and this is my thing. I've said I don't know if he's smart or lucky. I think it's a combination of both. You can't get to where he is for whatever you think of his failed businesses. He's still a billionaire.
Yeah,
he's still a fucking billionaire.
Several times over.
He's had failed businesses, and he's still a billionaire. So he's doing something right. And so when you're like, hey, he's had failed businesses. Yeah, how many failed businesses do you have that have led you to be a billionaire?
Right, exactly.
And it's insane. It's insane. And the problem is what they should do. They made it personal. That's the biggest problem. Mm-hmm. They should have just gone after policies and stuff. If that's what you want to do, just go after policies. And instead they're like, he's a Russian spy. He was installed by the Russian government. We have proof. What's your proof? Well, this British spy wrote this report. Like, do you guys even
about peeing?
Do you even listen to what you're saying? And I don't think they do. I really don't. And Polly, you good over there?
Yep.
Okay.
We're putting Polly to sleep.
Oh,
I love your avatar, by the way, Polly.
Oh, I didn't see it. What do you got going on? Oh, that one, yeah.
It's the otter in the blanket one.
That's a good one, man. You should keep that.
Manic sent me a good riff off of that one. I liked it. It was like a otter in a blanket with rain all around and a cup of coffee. And I'm like,
oh,
yeah.
So he looked like a little homeless guy.
That looks like Far's drawing. Is that Far?
Yeah, it is. It's she called it an edited abomination, but I like it.
An abomination. It's cute.
I thought
it is cute,
Star Wars.
I cut that.
I thought he was the Emperor.
I cut that otter face out of a different otter she did, a Christmas otter. He's sitting there with a little Santa hat on and a bottle of liquor. She's drawn a number of drunk, passed out otters. I don't know what she's getting at.
Why did she ever do that? I think we should know there. I thought it was the Emperor. I didn't know. I didn't think of it just as, a blanket. I thought it was, they were attempting to make it look like the Emperor from Star Wars.
No, that original photograph is a cat that's in that blanket, and it looks hilarious. Like, why is that cat wrapped up in the blanket like it's cold and homeless and sad? That's my black pilled and too miserable to go out into the world look right there. It's like, I'm just going to sit here in this blanket.
Wasn't the border thing a conspiracy theory too, where he said there's a crisis at the border, and they're like, no, there's not. You just hate brown people, and then 3 months later, there's a crisis at the border.
Yeah.
Well, the narrative is solidly stuck. There is no crisis at the border. The story's over, right? So
I don't know. You got AOC who's still saying it was concentration camps. Well, that would be a crisis at the border, wouldn't it?
Oh, well, that's a crisis of white supremacy, though. I understand what you mean, yes, but not the crisis of, a silent invasion from the South that's being ignored and has been ignored for 20 years or anything. No, that's not that crisis.
Oh, dear fuck. Is this real?
Back in a second. I just got to grab a drink.
Oh, I'm going to wait for you because, oh, my God.
I just noticed.
Thank you.
Chat. Hi, Far. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, hi, Far. How you doing, sweetheart? Miles, thank you so much. Hey, Monkey, the one thing I appreciate about Trump is how he takes on people left and expose hypocrites. Honestly, which politician has the will? That's something that, because, drain the swamp has become the big thing. He didn't drain the swamp. He's drained a lot of you motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And it's funny, every time somebody leaves his administration, they're like, look, he's turning on the people that were closest to him. This guy he hired because the establishment told him to. I think Trump, he does a good job at that. One of the things I like about Trump when he's doing this, like we've seen him compliment Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah.
And then he'll rip on her because he realizes that she is good at her job. She might not be a good legislator, but she is a good politician, which is part of her job. And he admits, I admire that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
She's good for her side. She's good for the Democrats because obviously AOC and her tribe is bad. And that's why Trump keeps trying to make them the face of the Democratic Party because he knows they're shit.
Yeah, that's the tact you want to go. Those are the ones that are easy to knock down. Jedi Ghost Bear, thank you so much. Trump caused the swamp to light itself on fire. You know what? That might be the best take on it. That might be the best take. Yeah, because these fuckers are lining up to make asses of themselves.
I was watching the Sunday show, Ben Shapiro's Sunday show. He had Liz Wheeler on from OANN.
Yeah. And
that was something that she pointed out about Trump was that he doesn't back down from people. If you push him, he'll come after you. And I think the Democrats are realizing we probably should shut up about him because every time we say something, he attacks us, and he has a platform in Twitter, and people are going to believe him because fake news.
Okay, Polly, you're back. We're going to switch topics just briefly.
Okay.
Because what I just read on Twitter, if this is true, if this is real, holy shit.
All right.
Alec Haluka, how do you say his name?
Oh, yeah, the Zoe Quinn thing.
Yeah, Zoe Quinn, the one that killed himself because Zoe Quinn came out and accused him of sexual harassment.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, this is a tweet he made in October of 2016, October 30th. It says, "Hello, I just turned 33. I want to take a break from frantically making music for my video game to write about this particular birthday. This is a bit hard to write as it feels almost like a coming out of sorts. For the good chunk of the last year, I felt like I wasn't going to make it to 33. The last couple of years have been incredibly shitty. But what about them was so hard to get over? It's something that's been hard to explain to others, but I'd like to try to make an attempt at it." And I'm sorry, this is Facebook, not Twitter.
I was supposed to say, this is a really fucking long tweet, I guess.
Well, I'm going to skip some of it. And guys, if you want to see it, I just retweeted it, but I want to read the end of it. So we're going to do it a little bit at the end. Mm-hmm. Here's the distorted belief. I believe that certain people in the indie game community want me dead. Now, what does that mean exactly? Does it mean I think they're going to walk up and stab me in the back with a knife at some point? No. I believe they're trying to covertly hurt me and my career to the point where I'm driven to suicide.
Holy crap. Holy crap.
If that's real, that is really fucking scary.
He called it.
Holy shit. Ah. That's one of those things when I read it and got to that part, I got a chill. Like, damn, these fuckers are Hillary Clinton. They just Clintoned his ass. Oh my god. Sorry guys, I didn't mean to. But when I read that, I'm like, I gotta talk about this.
I can't see Zoe Quinn as an assassin, though.
Really?
I really can't see her as an assassin.
No, she's a victim. Victims aren't assassins. She had to leave Twitter because of all of the hate coming at her from the cis white males.
But I believe when you were talking earlier about the logistics of this, that's not how vaginas work.
Right? That's not how the body works.
It's not how it works.
If what she was talking, excuse me, okay, we got to let the audience. For those of you who haven't heard us talk about this the last few nights, Zoe Quinn claims that this guy saved her, I'm using air quotes, from a horrible relationship with a guy who was raping her. He told her, look, you get a ticket out here, come stay for 2 weeks, and I'll pay for you to go back. Well, 2 weeks turned into a month, and the whole time he just wouldn't let her talk to anybody, and he was horrible to her, and he would sexually assault her, including what she said, grabbed her by the pussy and dragged her around the apartment. You can't do that to a woman without her help. Without her in some way facilitating.
I couldn't understand it when I first heard it because I thought, well, what did he do? Grab her pubic hair? Because what else would give you a good enough grip where you can actually do that?
You know what? Pubic, if she said that, grab me by the pubic hair and drug me around, okay, I could see that.
Yeah, I could see that. But
even then, it's like, why in the fuck are you running around the house naked?
Well, why do you have pubic hair?
Oh yeah, that's
What the hell's wrong with you? It's 2019. Come on, get with it.
Yeah, you shave your pubic hair, not your armpits for some reason.
There you go.
I don't understand that. And if there's any women out there who are feminists that can explain this to me, why in the fuck do you not shave your armpits because of the patriarchy, but you'll shave your cooter? You realize that's part of the patriarchy, right?
Don't say cooter.
It makes me laugh when you say cooter.
I'm sorry. Why don't you shave your gash?
Oh God.
Yeah, that's great.
No, not any better.
No,
I don't know. Cooter's a funny word to me.
I know it is. It's pretty awful to me.
It's funny to me. Easier access for lesbians. No, the story she told is demonstrably bullshit. At least that part, because that's the only specific claim she made. And yeah, there's no fucking way. Not without her in some way facilitating it.
See, if he's doing that, he's reaching up from the front of her and curling one or two fingers, whatever, around the pubic bone.
Yeah.
That's where the G spot is. So why is she complaining?
Well, I don't know how he would get those fingers in there without, again, I described this in great detail on yesterday's show. She would have to either be wet or holding it open, and he'd have to just really force it up in there, because a dry snatch, man, it's hard to get into. Is snatch better, guys?
I kind of like cooter.
Cooter, there we go.
I didn't have a problem with cooter. It's probably had the problem.
You want to hear an article that well, it does two things. One, it shows how badly something ages when you like virtue signal off of it, and two, it shows how the narrative is set on a lot of these things. You keep hearing me say that lately, right? The narrative has been set. The game's lost. The battle's lost. That's it. Here's the narrative on Gamergate specifically. This article was written a couple of days before Halleck. How do you say his name? Hawelka killed himself. This was days before he did so. This article is from Engadget, written by their senior editor, Jessica Condit. It goes into all these things. On August 26th, she published a blog post accusing legendary Skyrim composer Jeremy Soule of rape. It's a detailed account, et cetera, and it goes on about that. And then it goes down to, after reading Lawhead's post, developer Zoe developer. Yeah, how dare you disrespect her? Game developer and comic creator.
Oh, fuck off.
Zoe Quinn published a note on Twitter describing past emotional, physical, and sexual abuse by Alec Halakwa, a prominent independent game developer and co-creator of Night in the Woods. Halakwa's studio, Infinite Fall, cut ties with him days later, saying they believed Quinn. This is just the beginning. Blog posts of women and non-binary people in video games have been sharing their own stories of sexual harassment and assault, calling out legends in the industry by name. This movement has been a long time coming, following similar call-out campaigns in other industries. Games Twitter has been flooded with retweets and declarations of support for the people sharing their truths. So anyway, truth.
Share my truth.
That is it. Like the entirety of it makes only 5 paragraphs and very short ones because it's like blog style paragraphs, right? But it goes through. It says 5 years earlier, and this is the majority of the story, and this is the narrative of Gamergate as it gets told. This is the best summation. This has been making the rounds until the guy killed himself, and then they stopped it making the rounds. But this is the narrative, and it's perfect.
Mhm.
It's only been 5 years since the beginning of Gamergate, but everything is different now. Gamergate should have been a flashing neon warning sign to the world about today's tide of bold neo-Nazism and white supremacy.
Oh, fuck off. Real quick. Hi, Jack.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Jack.
Hey, Hammer. How you doing?
Good, you?
Yeah, all right.
I'm reading the narrative of Gamergate, Jack. So, in case you missed that, it's Gamergate should have been a flashing neon warning sign to the world about today's tide of bold neo-Nazism and white supremacy.
Dun, dun, dun.
Gamergate is where online bigots probe society's acceptance of thinly disguised sexism and racism and found fertile ground. Throughout 2014 and for years after, a swarm of irrationality, angry forum trolls harassed every easy target in the video game development and journalism world, anyone who wasn't obviously a straight cis white man. Numerous women, minorities, and their allies in the industry were doxxed, swatted, and forced to leave their homes for their own safety. Breitbart published false hit pieces about journalists and developers it dubbed social justice warriors. The conversation became so vicious that 4chan shut down its Gamergate boards, sending a flood of users to 8chan, which has since grown into a hub of violent extremism, pedophilia, and really shitty jokes. Feminist Frequency host Anita Sarkeesian was invited to discuss the harassment campaign on the Colbert Report, including multiple death threats of rape, bombing, and torture she received every day in response to her academic video series about common sexist tropes in games.
Oh, fuck off.
I started reporting for Joystick in 2011. In 2015, Breitbart wrote a hit piece about my managing editor, who just so happened to be one of the few women holding a leadership role in gaming media. Gamergate, when it appeared, consumed the industry in a noxious cloud of hate and fear.
Oh,
It made the entire team afraid to speak up, to do our jobs, to literally breathe. Proponents hid their attacks under the mantra, actually, it's about ethics in games journalism, a phrase that has, years later, transformed into a metaphor for dishonest moral pandering. And that's the difference today. Time. Over time, the cracks in the Gamergate narrative widened into gulfs, and the truth of the campaign to target and harass women was no longer ignorable or inexcusable. 8chan became synonymous with mass shooting manifestos and incels. Breitbart spun itself into an alt-right frenzy thanks to the quiet leadership of Steve Bannon, eventually solidifying itself not only as a news source, but as a tool of the neo-Nazi movement. The arguments...
Nuts, good morning, and Hammer, look what Nuts said to you there in chat. Go ahead. I want to hear some more fiction.
Arguments for Gamergate as an ethics campaign sounded more and more ridiculous until they fizzled out into entirely mainstream conversations. Meanwhile, the world continued to turn. Donald Trump won the presidency amid a handful of sexual assault allegations, some by his own admission. Bannon joined his administration. Proud white supremacists grabbed tiki torches and took to the streets. Bannon left the Trump administration. And just as Trump could be viewed as a direct response to the nation's first black liberal president, the backlash to an overwhelmingly conservative male leadership began to boil. Women began speaking up about the harassment and sexism they experienced every day in specific, horrifying moments. The Me Too movement swept the entertainment industry in 2017 as dozens upon dozens of women went on the record to accuse powerful men of sexual assault. And most important, they found strong support from their peers. The Time's Up organization was founded with the goal of helping women tell their stories. In 2018, a record number of women ran for and won seats in Congress. The phrase "believe women" took root in the collective consciousness of the nation. While politics and entertainment industries were flooded with women speaking their truths, the video game industry remained silent. There was no Me Too style campaign to call out problematic developers, though just as many existed in this medium as did in film or politics, perhaps more. Under a lingering shadow of violent hate and anger, women and marginalized people in games kept their stories to themselves. Until this week, a video game flood burst. Women and non-binary people are telling their truths. Their stories are being corroborated and disseminated across games Twitter, and they're being met with open minds and sympathy. The fear of retaliation from the extreme corners of the internet remains, but the industry's response this week has been a fucking relief, to put it lightly. It feels like Gamergate's toxic cloud is finally dissipating. It feels like maybe we can breathe.
Can I just say this is better than any fiction Zoe's ever written?
It's almost over.
That's a stretch.
Dear God, there's so much wrong with this.
I mean, I don't even need to finish reading it. It just kind of sums up where everything.
Could you throw the link in chat though for anybody who wants to read it?
Sure.
This actually fits in with the theme of the show. This is what they just gave us. There is a conspiracy theory about what happened, not what actually happened.
Yeah.
This is Gamergate numerology is what this shit is.
Yeah.
Every box, man. Donald Trump, 8chan, 4chan, neo-Nazis, Breitbart, Steve Bannon, like everything. Like it's
hold on. You said this is like this like numerology. That's not true. There's a pattern of logic to numerology. There's not that here. This is just fantasy.
Numerology a bad name.
Exactly. Don't numerology shame. They do that just fine on their own. They don't need our help and be compared to something. That's like saying like a shoplifter's Jeffrey Dahmer.
Well, okay, fair enough. But this whole thing, I mean, it's nonsense. Look, it was so bad. It got Donald Trump elected, and then white people took to the streets with tiki torches. Like, wait, time out. You think Gamergate is why they took tiki torches to Charlottesville?
No, Gamergate is why we got Donald Trump, which led to the tiki torches. See, it's a 3-stage process. And this is sort of like a horror movie for super Jesus people. You're like, ooh, it's scary. They misquoted the Bible. It's just very vanilla. Like, even with the dramatic reading, I'm like, and they took to the street with tiki torches. That even sounds retarded.
It's man.
There's the smaller link to it for anyone who wants to read it.
Wait, is that the story that I had seen? Oh shit! It opened it why does it do this to me? Goddamn well, I don't want to open this in my chat window, you dicks.
Yes, you do. You want to.
And so when I say like the narrative has been set, that is the narrative, not told as compactly as that or as dramatically as and that counts as that's journalism. That's their senior editor.
This
at Engadgets writing that
sophomore writing class.
Well, see,
and by the way, as I always like to point out around this time, you stole an LGBT POC's person's position. You're a white woman. You're taking a POC's job by occupying the position you are. Yeah, you're woke as fuck. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. You're a fucking hypocrite. Why haven't you given your job to an illegal immigrant? Why haven't you given your home to an undocumented worker? I insist we get on some Saul Alinsky shit with people who espouse this kind of crap. Notice that in there, when it was listing off all of the people that were targets, she put in herself and their allies.
Sure.
Because it's like, I'm seeing you're talking about like people of color and so on. And well, I guess she can count herself as a woman, but I don't know.
What happened here?
What?
Oh, sorry, I just saw something on the Twitter machine. Apparently somebody Toon got his account hacked. Guys, don't give your look. If somebody emails you and says we need your account information, that's not anybody legit. Just throwing that out there.
I don't know who's
Is that what
Toon.
happened?
Well, that's what happens in almost 90% of 99% of these cases. We have hack.
Don't
That's
be a
the guy with the
Podesta.
hamster logo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Jokes on those idiots. I don't check my email.
Excuse me. I got one of these month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago. Somebody from YouTube wrote me, and they needed me to verify my account information with my password and username. I'm like,
right.
You're a dumbass. Get the fuck away from me. No, that's what happens in almost all of these cases. We got this idea. The press, especially, they help feed this idea that there's these elite hackers out there who are just they figure everything out about you. Okay, I know your account name, and they just type furiously for hours. No, what they do is they send you an email that looks like it comes from an official account, and they tell you there's something wrong with your account. We need your information. Never. You guys hear this all the time. If you do anything online, they will tell you never give out your password to anyone ever, not even us. They'll tell you that.
Monkey.
What?
Steve Bannon was out of town, or Podesta was out of town. He was staying in a hotel room. He was groggy when he got that phishing account. He didn't realize that he was falling victim and prey to a alt-right phishing scam.
I learned a long time ago that if you click on twin sisters hot scissoring action, bad shit's gonna happen. Because it's never what they say. And then some weirdo from a foreign country with a gibberish accent wants $400 from Green Dot.
Well, technically Podesta did get his account hacked. In a technical sense, it was hacking. But dude, when you fall victim to a phishing scam,
look, no,
I don't know.
Mm-mm.
I heard the other day that Hillary's server was getting real time hacked by the Chinese. Is that true? You guys heard about that?
That I don't know about, but that kind of stuff that's usually a Trojan that they put in when you go look at scissoring stuff, Jack.
No, I found trusted sites now. Thank you.
Well, yeah.
The Asians, they like
one of the most awkward moments of my life was when my stepmom called me and said, "Could you come fix our computer?" I'm like, "Sure, I'll go over there and do it." And I turned it on, and it was one of those things where just cascades all kinds of horrible shit at you. Porn, guys. I'm like, "Dad, what were you looking at?" And he goes, "Nothing." Because I don't know how that happened. I'm like, "Dad, come on." Like, look, find a safe porn site, because I actually had to slash and burn his fucking hard drive over that.
Really?
Yeah, I could not get that out of there. And sorry, there's nothing you guys needed on here, right? Because you don't get it. And yeah, just slashed and burned it. But like, Dad, come on. Don't click on porn and email, Dad. X-Hamster is my site of choice. That one's not bad. YouPorn and Pornhub, those are both good. Be careful of the pop-ups that can happen on those. We're here look, porn's legal as long as you're of age.
If you're looking for a safe site, I know a safe site that's really good. It'll kill you when you hear the name. The name of the site is sex.com. I shit you not.
Nice.
And it is perfectly safe, and you won't get any pop-ups. I've seen it many times.
Yeah, just be careful if you're going out there porn hunting. It's not that hard. Don't go to anything you've never heard of before.
My girlfriend told me about the site.
And here's another tip for you. If you look something up on Pornhub and it's not there, do not go look it up on Google.
No, that's a terrible idea.
It is. You're going to end up somewhere and your computer's just going to get taken over. Don't do that shit.
Yeah, why don't you just go out and hand your computer over to a random hobo?
Yeah.
if you look something up on Pornhub and it's not there, don't go look it up on Google.
Yes. Okay. For example, and I know this because a friend of mine did that, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck? He was looking at bestiality.
Uh-huh.
And it's not on there. They don't. That's not something that Pornhub will let people do. So he went and looked it up, and he found a site that promised bestiality. He didn't get to see any because as soon as he clicked on it, there was a worm, whatever it was, that took over his fucking computer with the same thing my dad had with just cascades of fucking porn sites over and over and over. It's like, that's
Nice.
what you get, you fucking degenerate. Like, go look it up on, if you want to look up that shit, go look it up on like Tumblr and see the stuff that's drawn about it. There's seriously, I mean, if Pornhub allows so much, if you actually go looking, not that I have, I might have, but no, I actually have done that research, literal research. I have gone to Pornhub for research purposes. Go there and just think of the most degenerate shit you can, and it's probably on there. But they do have limits to what can be on there. So don't go look that shit up on Google. You're gonna end up somewhere horrible. The FBI is tracking your location. Look, man, Becca, with my search history, I have no. Just today, I looked up murdering with the 50 cal. That's gonna get me on a list.
Dangerous said, "Can you exchange a laptop for a shopping cart?" Asking for some dumb.
SDA would tell you that answer.
He's asking for her.
Bestiality is gross. I agree. I grew up hearing about that shit because I grew up in the Navy community. And when those guys go overseas, especially when they used to go to the Philippines, man, the Philippines has some degenerate shit over there. I don't know what they're doing, but those girls use their pussies in ways they weren't meant to be used. They turned them into cooters.
They weren't meant to use them that way.
Well, like girls who can give exact change.
Yeah, that's awesome. Can you imagine the freaky shit that chick can do?
I know, right? She can probably give you a blowjob with her vagina. Which is, don't think about that too hard, guys. Donkey shows, dog shows. Just the most degenerate shit you can think of. Yeah, they used to. You go over there and there's, you go into a basement somewhere and watch this horrible shit.
Yeah, you don't even need to go anywhere too sketchy either, because it's fairly common in the Philippines and Thailand.
Yeah. Becca says, Navy guys see all the raunchy shit. My husband has some stories. Yeah, and when you start to become a teen and you're the chief's kid, and yeah, they'll tell you these stories, and it's like, wow, you probably shouldn't be telling me this. I'm not going to go tell my dad you're cool because you told me that. Like, he's really cool. Why do you think so? He told me all about donkey shows, Dad. That doesn't work that way. They did give me lots of ice cream though, and that made me like them more. Jack,
you do a ping pong show. What's up?
Oh no, I've never seen a ping pong show. I should look that up. Is that on Pornhub?
It's pretty awesome.
Oh,
I don't know if it's on.
God damn it, monkey!
What?
What?
I've never been to Pornhub, so I'm asking.
Oh, I see.
I looked all that stuff up through the Christian Science Monitor. That's where
have you ever been to the Christian Science Monitor?
I go there all the time, Polly.
Like, actually?
That's
because that there's not a lot of Christian material there, right? You realize that's just like a holdover name.
I that's where I find all my porn stuff, Polly, and I'm sticking by that statement.
Like, you keep saying it. I'm wondering if you've even gone there. I mean,
I feel like I'm being trapped right now.
I feel like Polly's judging you over there.
I know, right? What's wrong with me going to the Christian Science Monitor?
Well, nothing. I'm just over here photoshopping. Never mind.
That is a line that I picked up. God, more than a decade ago. It's just like, have you seen porn? No. What I talk about, I saw on the Christian Science Monitor. Jack, we were talking about conspiracy theories earlier. Where the fuck were you, man?
I
know.
I was doing research and I get kind of involved in that. So,
Well, we were talking about research.
oh,
Jag, what's your absolute actual favorite conspiracy theory?
conspiracy theory?
Yeah.
I don't know. Hollow Earth is always a classic go-to.
Oh, that's a good one. That's one of the ones
Yeah.
with the tree of life.
Yeah, one of the main theorists of it, a guy named Symes. He's from here in Ohio. They have a little like a globe that's partly opened, and inside's a little land. It's a memorial to him in Hamilton, just outside of Cincinnati.
Yeah, it's not as popular as Flat Earth for some reason, and it makes more sense to me than Flat Earth.
Yeah, I mean, it's easier to grasp the flat Earth because I mean we're talking about some not so bright people sometimes.
True, fair enough.
So I think they're like, it's hollow. What does that mean? Like the inside of a chocolate bunny? You know? Yeah, it's chocolate bunny. The Earth is a giant chocolate bunny. You are correct.
Actually, it's more like a hollow Jesus.
Isn't the entrance supposed to be like in Antarctica or something like that?
Yeah, there's supposed to be one on each pole. Apparently, Admiral Byrd may have flown into the hollow Earth at one point.
Oh.
Yeah.
Look,
so there's
I don't think it was Admiral Byrd, isn't that who?
No, that's
explored
the one who
Antarctic?
sailed to it. Yeah, and then there was another guy that flew into it. My bad. I'm a little dusty on my conspiracy theory stuff.
Didn't what's her name fly into the Hollow Earth?
Amelia
Earhart.
No, the conspiracy theory about her is that she was captured by the Japanese and accused of spying. But there was just a search for her plane that found some interesting stuff out by that island where she likely crashed.
I just want to point out, I believe in the hollow Earth because I've seen these pictures. I've seen pictures of the hollow Earth. It's right there. That's irrefutable, man.
Right? There's no such thing as caverns.
Well, that's how you get into the hollow Earth.
Well, yeah. I mean, you just drive through there. It's makes total sense to me.
Oh God, I just see that's why I like conspiracy theories. They're just a fun way to let your brain go, and you listen to this shit, and it's like, yeah, it could be real. It's not, but it could be.
But it sounds so cool.
It does, right?
No, I tend to like the cryptozoology stuff a little bit better. And
Cryptozoology.
Yeah, monsters, that sort of thing.
Oh, lizard people and that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, like here. We share a little something with you.
My favorite is the government controlling the weather.
Oh, I like
yeah,
that.
HARP program.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so check this out. Bunny Man has hatchet in Virginia. This is an actual
I thought that said
news
vagina. Oh my God.
Yeah, talk about a hatchet wound. No, there's a couple of stories where this guy who probably was really drunk, dressed in a bunny suit, ran around and threw an axe at some lovers, the military guy and his girlfriend, and then he was attacking a housing development like a couple days later.
Mm-hmm.
Good times.
Wasn't he hiding in the forest behind the development?
Yeah, and it just kind of generically terrorized the area. There's a lot more legends than there are reports, but it's one of my favorites because it's from like 1970. It's not like this was the 40s or 50s. No, this was 1970.
Yeah, we haven't had a good Messiah in a long time because we're in current year and nobody believes that. But people believe flat Earth. Like,
yeah,
but science.
Well, there's all sorts of crazy shit people believe. There's a toy doll named Robert the Doll down in Florida, and he's in this like weird little museum. And it said that if you don't ask permission before taking his photograph, you'll have all sorts of personal problems.
Oh,
so people attribute all their weird, random personal shit to this, and they'll send him trinkets to get his forgiveness.
Well, what about killer titties? We heard about those the other day.
Oh, Gorgon boobs. Yeah, that's totally
Gorgon
real.
boobs.
I was personally involved in that incident, so I know for a fact Gorgon boobs was real.
Excuse me, we haven't had a current Messiah for a while. Supporters of AOC may disagree with you. Yeah, true.
I don't know. I mean, all the Jews are still waiting for one, and the Christians are convinced he already came, and that's over 1 billion people right there. So I mean,
well, yeah, but see, at least I understand that. I mean, as a non-believer, I can understand things back in the day, especially like word of mouth stories traveling. That makes more sense to me than like today. If somebody showed up and turned water into wine, I'd be like, okay, when's your Vegas show? You know what I mean? Because we'd look at it and go, no, that's got to be a magic trick. Even believers are more skeptical, if that makes sense. The last time I heard of a major religion believing a change was the Mormons, when that guy showed up and said, no, I found the book that shows that there was a lizard involved. I don't remember the exact conspiracy. He ended up getting busted because he was a fucking fraud.
Oh, I remember that. They did a Law and Order episode about that guy.
Yeah, there's several I've watched documentaries about that guy. It's like, how did this fucker get so much influence in there? And then you see it like, oh, because he was a pretty good charlatan. He was a good con man. And I feel bad for those people because that had to make so many of them have a crisis of faith. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not a legit crisis of faith. They had a crisis of faith because of a fucking con man. I fucking hate
hold on. Are you talking about Mark Hoffman? Or are you talking about somebody who was doing what are you talking about?
Is that his name? Mark Hoffman?
I don't know. What's the story you're talking about?
They're in the Mormon religion.
Yes.
This dude showed up in Salt Lake City, I believe it was, and claimed that he had found a different text of what's their book?
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, you're talking about Mark Hoffman. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was a forger.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
He forged a lot
fraud.
of things other than the Book of Mormon. I mean, he did Oath of a Freeman and also, but largely Mormon documents. Yeah, his story's fantastic.
Yeah, that's where his money got made, was the Mormon stuff.
But that's
how he got busted.
He's the kind of reason if a Messiah comes back, nobody's going to believe it's him.
Oh yeah. Oh, we forgot. Batman McGrath just pointed out the 2 chicks from Smallville that were in Nixium, the sex cult.
Oh yeah.
Can't forget that.
That dude. Well, they both just got sentenced recently, didn't they?
Oh, the one wasn't actually involved. She was a member for like 2 months.
But
the other girl, the blonde, she's getting.
Yeah, she was a recruiter for him.
Yeah. She was branding women, with a hot piece of metal, literally branding.
Have you noticed most of these? This is why if you get into a cult, I would be like, no. Almost all of the ones in the recent years is like, all of the women in here have to sleep with me.
Yeah. Well, that's the best kind if you're the leader.
If you're the leader, sure. I mean, that's how I would do it. I have to get sucked off daily, and you guys have to do it. Not you because you're ugly, but the others. No, the cult. See, I don't know if those are really conspiracy theories. Those are just people fucking with believers, and that's not cool. That's not cool.
If you really want to get a good introduction to conspiracies, I would actually recommend the Missing 411, which is what I was talking about in chat with Johnny Bonsacco and Evil One, because that's about actual missing people. But all the people that are peripherally involved in this, that are interested in it, have their own personal theory. So you end up with like the UFO people, you get the Bigfoot people, you get the time doorways people, you get the governments out to get us people, you get everything, weather control. It's all snuck in there by all the people talking about the Missing 411.
You know what? You just reminded me of the greatest conspiracy of all. Don Lemon telling us that a plane went into a black hole.
It really is.
See, this is what I'm talking about with it, because we've discussed a few of these that have hit mainstream news. This is, whether we like it or not, Don Lemon is considered a real newsman.
Yeah.
And this motherfucker was on his show talking about shit that would have got Alex Jones kicked off YouTube.
Yep.
Maybe it was a little black hole that showed up.
It sounds crazy, but
Because
does
it
it?
is.
But does it?
He
does
actually
it?
went with that shit. It was great.
Black holes don't just appear. Like if he had said portal to another dimension, that would have been slightly less bad.
Indeed.
Because all right, maybe that's conceivably scientifically possible. I saw Wrinkle in Time. Sure, portals. Yeah, cool. I got it. It's a tesseract. I saw Stargate, but man, black holes just appeared and swallowed it up. Shut up. God,
Even a black hole the size of a pin would destroy California. Well, that's probably not a bad thing if you think about it.
It would destroy us. I mean, but again, Alex Jones gets in trouble for it, and we can't have anything on YouTube that's conspiracy theory. Don Lemon's ass is still on here.
yeah, and it's funny too because I've seen CNN mock like the doomsday preppers.
Yeah.
Like, you have no right to mock them because at least that's something that could really happen.
Yeah, they're not prepping for aliens to come destroy us. Well, maybe a couple, but mostly they're prepping for, World War III.
Yeah, World War III, civil strife, collapse of the power grid,
Yeah.
shit that could legitimately happen. Okay, maybe far-fetched in some cases, but at least that's a conceivable possibility. But a black hole just appearing, it'd rip the whole planet apart. What are you talking about?
And he's an actual news figure in our world.
He's a celebrated, award-steeped journalist.
Yeah.
Who's worse, is him or Rachel Maddow?
Ooh,
I would say him.
Really?
No, I would Rachel Maddow.
Yeah, I would go with Rachel because 2 years
She's-
of the Russia thing. Yeah,
She's taken
Well-
far more seriously and legitimately and has greater viewership. And Don Lemon's kind of like a talk show host. And yes, people call him a journalist, but like people kind of take him as a talk show host. They legitimately do. Rachel Maddow, they take deadly seriously as one hell of a researcher. Like they think she's brilliant. I never hear anybody mention Rachel Maddow with like, she's a Rhodes Scholar, and it's like, shut up.
Well, okay. And if we're talking about that, who has the most reach and influence? Okay, Matt, I'll give you that. If you're talking about
that's why I say worse. Like if you take worse in terms of like journalism, oh yeah, it's Lemon because that guy just he can't even fake being smart. Like at least you can fake being smart.
And that's
heard,
where I was going. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jack.
I heard Matt Christensen, I think it was, call her David Hogg's older brother.
You watch it. That's really close to homophobia, what you're doing right there.
I've always called her Sean Hannity's little sister. I think there's a eerie resemblance between those. Although he's gotten really fat lately. Damn, Sean.
Yeah. He's starting to look more and more like a Sontaran from Doctor Who. Or a Twinkie stuffed into a suit.
Yeah, he's Sean, you're not aging well, man.
But he's a martial artist.
I know, right?
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
He's a master of food foo.
Yeah. If he's holding a pork loin, you just stay back.
He'll destroy it. No, it is weird when conspiracy theories actually enter our. Okay, one. The Russian one, that is absolutely conspiracy theory. We talked about that, but that was everywhere. All sides, all news was talking about that in some respect, taking it at least seriously enough to try to debunk it.
Yeah.
When Don Lemon starts talking about fucking black holes appearing out of nowhere and swallowing up an airplane, that's when it's like,
Bermuda Triangle kind of crap.
yeah, it's like, okay, I'm done. I mean, what the fuck? I enjoy conspiracy theories, but there's a point when you have to step away from them. When you start believing them, Don, when you start asking, is it really that hard to believe? That's when you go, yeah, I'm done. I have to go fuck somebody. I was going to say fuck a woman, but he doesn't do that. Go back to real life for a while, because once you start believing it, that's when it's time to walk away. So it's time to walk away.
Well, there's some conspiracy theories that have more believability than others.
Sure.
It's always about the degrees. Like, if you want to go down the rabbit hole, like the Georgia Guidestones, all right, that's more interesting, and there's a little bit of fun to be had there. But then you get to like the black hole thing or interdimensional anything, and people's eyes glaze over, and then you're like, "Oh, I'm the crazy one," and then you
Right.
stop.
That's when you walk away. Even on ones where I'm like, okay, there might be something there. I talked about the moon landing earlier. This is where NASA really fucked up. Is that we know they lied. We know they did. I still think we landed on the moon, but I know they lied. So
there's proof.
yeah, absolutely.
The Japanese probe, Selene Gagoya, I think is how it's pronounced, took pictures of our landers on the moon. Unless those pictures were falsified, but
Right. Well, that becomes the problem because we know NASA falsified some of the pictures of moon landings.
yeah, well, this is coming from Japan, so unless they falsified it too,
well, look,
here's the blast halo from the what was it, Apollo 15, I think.
The Russians told the Japanese or the Chinese, whichever, told the Asians that they have to back up our moon landing story so that Donald Trump can be president.
Oh Lord,
I could see it.
Speaking of that, did you hear about the latest finding on the moon?
No.
The Moonies?
What?
The Moonies?
No. The Chinese rover found some weird gel.
Really?
A gel-like substance on the moon.
So we're all going to die?
interesting.
Depends. I saw the blob. I don't think they should bring it back.
Yeah, don't bring that shit back to Earth.
Yeah, haven't you seen the fucking Andromeda strain?
Right?
Send something up there to test it up there.
Organic.
Send something up there to test it. Up there.
I mean, is it like tar, like an inert chemical, or is it organic?
I
is,
didn't.
is it like moving around? Does it have a face?
I am not smart, so I didn't. They started. I was reading it on like space.com or something. I was like, I'm not smart enough for this article. See some Mars pictures that's supposed to be buildings. Come
on. This is actually from MSNBC or from NBC. Huge mysterious blob discovered under the moon's biggest crater.
Under the crater?
What's that?
Under the crater.
Under the crater.
How do you get under a crater?
Dig.
So the probe dug underneath the crater?
I'm guessing.
I assume like the top layer of the crater is what we're talking about.
I was assuming that it used its like Star Trek scanners to scan under the crater.
Well, see, the moon is actually a big bouncy ball, so it's full of
it's its rubber interior.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's big. The scientists who found the blob estimate its mass to be at least 2.18 quintillion kilometers, about 4.8 quintillion pounds on Earth. Yeah, they don't know what it is. They think it's leftover metal from a asteroid collision.
Oh.
Huh. Well, again, test it up there. We don't need that shit back on Earth.
Well, if Scribe gets his way, we'll find out eventually.
You know those fuckers are going to bring it back because we're dumb.
Of course they are.
Let's bring this weird shit back to Earth that we've never seen before. Yeah. I thought the moon was made of cheese. Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe it's spray cheese. It's just a bunch of spray cheese up there. That's impressive. Yeah, that's a big ass blob. I want to know how they estimate that size, unless they dug in several places and just dug down.
No magic. There's a wizard up there with the probe.
This is why I don't trust science. They
so
guess too much.
I pretty much mostly finished the Otter in a smoking jacket. Want to see?
Yeah.
No, see what they did, Monkey, was they asked the Nazis that are living on the moon.
The monsters on the backside. Like,
yeah.
Hey, I know we're not supposed to talk to you, but could you tell us what the fuck this is?
Ed's in chat. Hey, Ed.
How you doing, Ed? Johnny says spray cheese is not cheese. That's a conspiracy theory, sir, and I will thank you not to spread that shit on my channel.
That looks pretty good, Polly.
It does. That's really good.
It's two far pictures and then a cartoon smoking jacket and a pipe and a otter hand from a different cartoon, and then
no, I like that. I like that.
He was pretty chill.
That's what Polly does while we talk, yo.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He makes otter pictures. I'm just going to point this out. That otter has no genitals.
He does. They're under his fur. It's fine.
I don't see no fur there, man. He looks pretty flat.
No, that's what all the brown is. That's his fur. He's a furry otter.
So he's a furry.
He's a furry.
Well, he's an
Confirmed.
otter, yeah.
You see that judgmental look he's giving you, Monkey?
He's judging me because he has no genitals. That's not my fault.
So speaking of AOC, did you see that stream she did where she said that as the polar ice cap melts and the frost layer melts, that old diseases are going to come out and kill us all?
Yep.
Dino AIDS.
Jurassic herpes is on its way, you guys.
Did she say that was the reason why the dinosaurs died, was because of old diseases?
I don't know. I just know that.
Would you be surprised? I mean, Stegosaurus syphilis was a real problem back in the day.
Look, it's scientifically, it is not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, crustacean crotch rot is
Yeah.
going to be a real thing. I've got like a dozen of these on deck.
Scientifically, it is theoretically possible. The chances of it actually being real is fucking retardedly slim.
It would have to be a virus. Can't be bacteria. Bacteria couldn't survive, but viruses could.
Yeah, well, it'd be somebody would have to ingest it very early on, otherwise it'll die.
Far Syphilisaurus.
Syphilisaurus, yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Look, AOC is a fucking retard. She's just a retard. There's no other way to put it. And I enjoy watching her for the same reason I like conspiracy theories. It's just a chance to sit back and laugh at some stupid shit.
You know what kills me is that people keep talking about, like, so you have like Ocasio-Cortez, right? And they'll say like, this is an elected member of Congress, people. I'm like, yeah, but look who elected her. It was a bunch of people that weren't electing her based on any platform. They were electing her based upon, Keith Ellis's former position and like, all of these things. Like this is how she got the job. I mean, keep in mind, people, Brianna Wu was a viable candidate for Congress. The moon rocks. I mean, it's just like if enough people didn't talk about that and she had a bigger push behind her and everyone got behind her to push the I don't know, first transitioning whatever, she's a man, right?
Yeah.
Look,
I think
tranny.
It's not that these guys say anything that's completely outlandish compared to once you compare them to the guy that thought Guam would flip over.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
And he's been in Congress way longer. So can you imagine what he's done?
Oh, yeah. Johnson, is that his name?
Yeah, Johnson.
He said a lot of stupid shit. But, Polly, I've used the phrase, this is a sitting member of Congress. And I do that to point out how scary it is to elect somebody the way they elected her. Because you're right, she didn't get elected because of her position. She got elected for two things. One, saying that Crowley wasn't in his district. And that's how she won the primary.
Which is true.
That's just right. And then two, because she was a Democrat in that district. That's all it took. And you're right, she didn't get elected on any platform.
A little bit of intersectionality too.
Maybe. But
she got help though, because all of her funding, 90% of her funding came from outside her district.
Sure. But she didn't even need that. Once she won once she primary, it didn't matter. Cup of water.
Yeah,
but that's a scary thing.
We've had weirdos running things for a long time.
Yeah. And it's fun to point out, like, this is a sitting member of Congress. That should scare the shit out of you.
Well, one of our first presidents was going to fund a expedition to meet the people from the Hollow Earth and make friends with them.
Becca said, I thought Jeffrey said that. Is that his name? I forget his name. What is he from? Georgia, Alabama, something down there?
Word.
Georgia.
Yeah. I forget his name. I know who he is. And if I saw his face, I'm like, that's him. But I don't care about him enough to keep his name. And nobody talks about him enough for me to remember him. Yeah, Guam flipping. That's got to be one of the best things that was ever said in the halls of Congress.
If he had gotten right to it, it wouldn't be as funny because it took him so long to edge up to it that the admiral or whatever the fuck he was, the Navy man sitting there listening to him talk about this stuff was just like, I don't have those figures, Congressman. Like, what are you getting at? You know what I mean? It's like, would it flip or capsize. Like it was.
Yeah, and that's the best part of it because they came out and no, he was being theoretical. Like the motherfucker actually used the word capsize.
Yeah.
It's an island, not a boat.
Yeah.
Someone needs to tell him.
Ed says AOC scares you, but Trump doesn't. I haven't seen Trump go, okay, that might be theoretical, or that might be true, but it's not true.
He has a fundamental grasp on how an economy works. That if you produce more of a thing, the cost will go down. He understands supply and demand economics. I do not believe Ocasio-Cortez actually grasps that. Like, and I'm not even trying to bust balls. I really don't think she grasps that.
Well,
she has really talked about we print the money we need. She buys into that idea, not understanding how inflation works. Simple concepts of economics elude her.
She didn't seem to understand that certain foods could be planted in certain areas because of weather. Like they grow cauliflower in New York.
That bitch is so much gold.
How many branches of the government did she say there were?
Well, she said that
branches of Congress. Yeah,
branches of Congress, and then she corrected herself. It wasn't. Did she say branches? I can't remember, but yeah, she corrected herself and still got it fucking wrong. Oh God, yeah, she's just gold, man. She's comedy gold. That's my favorite part about her, because she is the kind of person that you could sell a conspiracy theory to.
I am going to send her David Icke's book on the reptilians.
She would believe it. She'd go on the floor of Congress and give a speech about how we need to prepare for the reptilian invasion.
That's right.
Johnny Bonsaco's right. Cauliflower is racist. It's whitewashed broccoli. It's
broccoli is disgusting.
I prefer broccoli over cauliflower. Cauliflower is disgusting.
Oh yeah, I agree.
The cauliflower looks like brains, which means you'll get smarter from eating it. That's science.
It's true. I read that in a book somewhere.
Yeah, just don't eat it on Guam because if you take a poop, it might flip the island over.
I don't think she grasps anything, but the hype for her is equivalent to the hype of Trump. Slippery slope fallacy. Haven't figured out what makes it a fallacy, but whatever. One, I don't think slippery slope is a fallacy. I think it's been proven over and over and over again that it tends to be true. But the hype for Trump and the hype for her, do you think those are actually comparable?
No.
The media has spent 90+% of its time just dogging that man, and they can't find a bad thing to say about her.
Well, they spent their time,
she doesn't know what
chasing after her. I mean, Ocasio-Cortez only has an existence in anyone's awareness because of news entertainers. No other reason. She hasn't done anything. It's Rolling Stone and MSNBC, and that's her existence in its entirety.
And I think I think she's had a more profound effect on the politics of her party as well. There's so many people right now running to the socialist platform, partially because of Bernie, but partially because they see the love she gets. It's weird. It's weird. I don't think she has much. We all know she doesn't have any power. She's a fucking representative in Congress. She has a platform, though. Bitch has a platform. She's a direct response to Trump. Bullshit.
There were commies planting fucking bombs throughout Washington, D.C. in the 1920s. Fuck, these people aren't commies. They're a bunch of fucking Twitter warrior cowards.
They're commie wannabes.
Yes. They're LARPing revolutionaries. Let's
not forget what the Germans did to the Statue of Liberty at the Black Tom event. So we can't just pin it on the commies. There's plenty of other scumbags out there, too, that actually went out and did things.
Grim Reefer says she's a Republican plant. No one can be that fucking stupid. You'd be surprised, my friend. And with that, guys, we are going to have to wrap this up. It's 2.5 hours in. Oh, fuck.
Oh, really? Good conversation.
I again, this is why I like this platform, man, because it can just go any fucking where. We've been everywhere from conspiracy theories to vagina holding and back. It's awesome.
Well,
so
I'm sorry I missed most of it.
Yeah, me too. Because I think you'd had a lot to say about some of what we said. It says, so is Trump. Her popularity and hype is a direct response to Trump. The fuck it is. The fuck it is. Some random member of Congress is. Come on, man. Come on.
I do like the Becca's comment that platform brought to you by Young Turks money. So brought to you by what? Royalty in the Middle East? Shit.
Yes. But guys, yeah, we're gonna wrap up. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. I love you guys, I really do, and thank you so much for the donations. I cannot tell you how much they help. I didn't do any commercials throughout the show tonight. Damn. Don't forget to support everybody. Speaking of which, Hammer, is there anything you want to show?
Just the Minions. Everybody knows about the Minions.
All right, that's the Minions of the Zoo over on the Minions of the Zoo channel. Make sure you check that out every night at 11 p.m. Eastern time, 11:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
Jack, anything you'd like to show?
I'm going to throw a link to the Missing 411 in chat. Check it out. Get your conspiracy on. Never go camping again.
And Polly, anything you want to show?
There's the link to my channel that Stargazer has been generously posting this whole time, but I'll throw it up there one more time. Where we do the comic book curation live stream, Jack Inquisitor and I on Wednesdays, and all sorts of other one-shot videos, and including a bunch of others that are coming down the pipe that I'm in the middle of editing right now. So lots of fun stuff there to check out.
All right, and it's Monday, so we're going to be over on Satsu 2 Senses channel for Lords of the... God damn, I forgot the show I do every...
What was the name of that show again?
6 nights a fucking week for the last 3... How many years have we been going now? Fuck,
Over
I don't
2.
even know.
Why don't you ask SDA? Is it her turn to host?
Over on Satsu 2 Cents channel at 9 p.m. Eastern time for Lords of the Night. I don't know if there's a gaming stream. We're having some what's the word, logistical issues with that, but watch out for Twitter and watch the show, and we'll let you know if that's going on. And with that, guys, seriously, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us, just talking. It's amazing that you guys listen to this, and I really do love you for it. Polly, Hammer, and Jack. Well, first, Hammer, it's really good to talk to you again, man. And I'm glad you're doing a lot better.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
And Polly, Jack, and Hammer, thank you guys so much for joining me. Everybody, have a wonderful Monday, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Have a good night.
I do this for me.
Pudding?
We're out. Well, we're almost out.